Yo, what is going on, everybody? We are live. This is your boy Sydney. We have AV Alpha Villains in the house and Jason, the working man. Brothers, thank you for coming on. How y'all doing today?
Great, man, Sydney. Thank you for having me on, man. Working man, pleasure to meet you as well, man. I'm just ready to kind of tackle these topics, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Good to have you guys on. So,
hey, man.
I have got so much stuff to talk about today. Let me tell you, I've given these guys a highlight, but we're going to go deep into this. And Alpha Villains, you've obviously been in the manosphere for a little while now. Not a huge amount of time, but I'm seeing you pop up everywhere. Young Men's Daily Red Pill was my first exposure to you. Shout out to Young Men's Daily Red Pill. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Definitely, yes. Young Men's Daily Red Pill has definitely been a great sponsor and help for me, man. I'm looking forward to meeting him one day as well.
Yeah, so he's got some really good stuff. If you guys haven't seen Young Men's Daily Red Pill, or now if you want to search from on YouTube, YMDRP, go check him out. He's got great content. And I'm seeing like your link to Alpha Villain store pop up in like all of these different content. Like, man, this guy is spreading like wildfire, bro.
I'm trying.
And I'm seeing people wearing the No Sympathy shirts. I think I saw Myron Gaines wearing it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
From Unplugged Fit, like all over the place. So and these guys are from all different corners of the manosphere. We've got MGTOW content creators. We got, sort of fitness and personal development. We got some people that are more in the space of helping guys to date women. And, look, what my position is, like, you've got to focus on yourself first before you're ready to date women. Otherwise, you're just going to end up back where you started. That's just some real talk.
I agree.
You guys are on the same page. And I've been watching your content. What you've been putting out on Instagram, the kind of shirts you've been making, AV. Jason, you've been smashing it on YouTube. I don't know how you've only got 77 subs at this point, because I've been watching your content. And I think this goes to show, like, you don't realize who's watching your content, even when you're a small creator, until that starts to ripple out into the world. Because I had no idea, like Coach Greg Adams and Joker, like guys that I got so much respect for, I didn't actually know until after they started to get big that they followed me before they started. So they've kind of just gone off into the stratosphere and overtaken me. And I'm like, right, man, more power to you. Like, I respect that, and I love your content. And I'm so glad that, like, I'm genuinely humbled that I could be a part of the inspiration for you going where you've gone. Like, even Joker, he left a comment saying, something to the effect of, I might not even be here making content if it wasn't for you. And I was like, man, I'm so humbled.
That is awesome.
So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, and it's crazy, Sydney. I discovered you from CGA, Coach Greg Adams. He's one of my favorites as well. And the reason why I was really turned on to the MGTOW movement, more so by Coach Greg Adams, because again, before, when I got into the manosphere, there was a portrayal of MGTOWs, right? They were like dorks, geeks. These are guys that just can't get women. They're not physically attractive, don't have any wit. And when I heard Coach Greg, that's what it is. That's word on the street, right? And Coach Greg Adams, was the antithesis of what I perceived it to be. So then I started, ingesting his content. That's how I discovered Young Men's Daily Red Pill, Chris Cantu, a whole bunch of people. And I'm like, nah, hold on. Something's up. So there's something else to that. So I say that to say, whatever, I guess, denomination a man chooses to go, or whatever route he wants to take, is his prerogative, as long as he's doing it on his own terms and he feels that he's bettering himself. Whether you want, like I said, and I've said this before, listen, man, if you want to have sex with a doll, by all means, go ahead. If you want to jerk off, go ahead. Just understand that there are consequences, and just know what's going to happen if you do that. But at the end of the day, brothers, it's all about, I think there's a big segregation amongst men, and I really want to try to bridge that gap, because we still have a lot of work to do as far as what we're trying to achieve, as far as becoming better, and as far as making women better for us if we choose to go that route.
I've got a point on that. I just wanted to say shout out to Red Sings the Blues. He says, we should have a one-on-one, Sydney. I remember you from Solo TV 84. Thanks, brother. By the way, guys, I just want to let everyone know that all super chats and PayPal today will be split 3 ways between the 3 of us.
Oh, man. Okay.
Because I want to share the love. You guys have been supporting the brotherhood by putting out great content, and I want to help to support you guys by sharing the love as well, because I started from zero as well, guys. I've I know I put in the work, but you guys are putting in the work as well. And I got to respect any man that puts it down and shows their face online and does what's got to be done.
Yeah. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. Thank you.
So yeah, that's the deal. And I just want, like I said, I wanted to touch on that point about leadership. Men, and this is something that I've seen like us and so many others in the manosphere doing. Like I couldn't list everybody, honestly, so I'm not going to try. But I mean, to mention Coach Greg Adams and Young Men's Daily Red Pill, I mean, they're really leading their niche, which is much larger than we realize. And we need to popularize leadership amongst men again, because we've got this thing going on in the media, and we've got all of this stuff happening where it's all over the media, it's all over the internet, it's all over posters, and this is all pushed from the government top down, saying that we need to get more women in leadership. But yet, even with all of these efforts, even with illegal affirmative action pushing women into leadership positions that maybe they're not as qualified for as the next candidate, I just don't think it's really fair or right or just what's going on. And I think if we start to whatever gets popularized becomes
right.
When things become popular, they start to self-accelerate. They become part of culture. So
sure.
I really believe that us content creators in the manosphere, we are at the absolute forefront of leadership. We are, and look, I'm not saying that we're the only leaders. Like there's heaps of leaders out there, and there's so many people influencing culture. But particularly given that we are getting so much traction, so many people are watching us, women and men, by the way.
Sure.
We continue to create this content. If we continue to lead and we continue to put out a positive message, no infighting. Like we're going to have different points of view to other people in the manosphere. And anyone who's watched me for a long period of time will know that I don't go shitting on other content creators who disagree with me. I might say, look, I've got a difference of opinion to you, but that's fine. But you don't go shitting on other people. Don't go fuck you or anything like this, on camera. I don't think that it helps. I'm not going to shit on anyone who's done that. What I do want to say is it's not going to help anyone to do that, right? Just look, if someone's talking shit about you, take it on the chin and move on. If you're really a leader in your community, people are going to take whatever's said about you with a grain of salt. The people that are going to listen to what other people say about you that's not necessarily great and take that to heart, let them take it to heart. It's not your problem.
You are absolutely right. And, if someone is easily swayed by an opinion of someone else about you when they haven't, had a chance to take to get to know you, then that's not somebody that's in your corner. That's somebody that's easily swayed. That is more of a feminine, emotional characteristic. Okay. Now, I don't have the time to verbally spar or argue with another man because they choose to live or they choose to wear their hair a certain way. They choose to fucking jerk off. They choose to. I don't really give a shit, frankly.
I don't even have a choice how I wear mine.
Yeah, I know. Me too. But the point is, man, and you hit it on the nail. It is counterproductive. I think we've all lost sight of what the mission statement is for this manosphere. We are displaying, some people are displaying feminine characteristic traits by bickering and arguing with other people because they don't share their ideology. I think that, we always talk about abundance, right? Abundance mindset. And I think that when you do that, when you challenge someone's ideology, it's that comes from a scarcity mindset place, because I'm not worried about who's following you, frankly. You know what I mean? I'm worried about what I'm doing and whose lives I'm changing and whose lives I'm contributing to. I'm not worried about what you're doing, brother. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And lastly, I think that we have a lot of work to do outside, but we can't take care. We keep talking about there's no change or there's no hope, but we're not solid inside. So our foundations are totally off. And I think this is why things are continuing to happen that way without, making any change outside. Sorry, that was long-winded. But
No. I absolutely agree with what you're saying. And one thing that I think I really want guys to take on is someone who is going to be that easily swayed by other people's opinions of you is not in your court and was never they never took your leadership on board to begin with. So Like, don't worry about trying to get them back. Just stick to your mission. Stay positive. Stay real. Be honest. Act with integrity. Look, there's not a single person on earth, no matter how good or virtuous that person is, who hasn't slipped up once, who hasn't let their integrity like drop at one point in some area in some way. But look at things on balance. Look at the big picture. Look at what the intention and the heart of this person is. And, you know, that's where you're going to sort of find what's really going on here, you know? So what's your thoughts, Jason, on leadership and how important that is?
Well, I had to bring it back. Like I said, I was an NCO. I did 20 military leadership. You can't be worried about what other people are doing. You know, like me, if I made the channel and I was worried about, you know, what Greg was doing or you or anybody else, I probably wouldn't have started. You know, you can't be worried about what other people doing. You have to pay for yourself. And Alpha, you said something a little while ago about the break or I guess the separation in the community. You know, women, they circle the wagons when things happen to them. You know, us as, you know, as men, as a community, we have to band together like they do. You know, something happens to a woman, no matter how bad they are, everybody comes together and, you know, they band together. We don't do that, you know, with the simps and everybody else. You know, they put the cape on, and, you know, us as men, we have to come together.
Facts.
You know, that's why we always be sharpshooter all the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Straight out.
You got that's part of, you know, of sticking together, improving ourselves. That we have to have to have one. You know, a lot of things going on out here. We allowed it. So,
right.
Yeah, we did allow it. We've allowed it for far too long. And, you know, even me, right? Even knowing what I know, and I'm like, you know what? I'm my own man. I will like, I'll help a brother out. You know what I mean? But I'm at the point now where I just don't want to even engage with a woman I don't know in the street. Right? Like, if I see any sort of dynamic of conflict around that person in that moment in time. So, for example, if they're being yelled at by someone or they're yelling at someone, it's like, if I know that dude's in the wrong or that other chick's in the wrong, like, I'll give him a look, like, you know, you need to back up, like, all right. But I'm not going to step into that situation.
Sure.
You know, and
I mean,
there's
well, you can't now because, I mean, with you know, with allegations and things like that, you almost like you can't engage now. Or if you do, you have to have a level of concern or, you know, a heightened sense of awareness. Because if you don't, I mean, you could bump into somebody now and, oh, hey, so-and-so abused me or whatever, and you just try to be nice.
And, you know, you're absolutely right, guys. And again, Sydney, that's your prerogative. Listen, if we're at a bar and you see a red flag that I don't see, and you're like, you know what, AV, you can have that. That's more for me. You know what I mean? And that's my prerogative as well. Now, you might come back and say, damn, I told you so, AV. You shouldn't have fucked with her. But that's on me, though, right, guys? Sometimes we have to allow men to fall on their face and make their own decisions, because that is also part of being a man, allowing a man to make a mistake, learning from the mistake, and owning that goddamn mistake. So everybody wants to kind of, and again, let me be clear one more time. I respect and appreciate everyone's ability for content, and I listen to all of them. I have alliances with people that don't necessarily like MGTOW, and that's okay. You know what I mean? I have people that don't necessarily like POA, and that's okay. The point is, like you said, Sydney, like you said, Jason, that yes, you can't frolic with a broad right now because it's dangerous. Or Sydney says, you know what, this girl's a little too loud, I'm not fucking with her tonight. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? You guys don't want her? All right, let me see if I can grab her. And that's fine too. Doesn't mean that you can't get a chick. It doesn't mean that you can't get a chick. It just means that you have, your standards are slightly different than mine. And that's basically it.
Yeah, by the way, this is a perfect example of what you were saying before, like the false allegations. Because people, a lot of people say, oh, but you know, you're scared of nothing. You're scared of women. It's like, no. Teenage girl in court after accusing Good Samaritan of indecent assault and stalking. A teen who told a police a Good Samaritan who helped her fix her car for 2 hours had sexually assaulted her later admitted and I quote, she just wanted him to go to jail.
Listen, man, you know, it's crazy. Like, I get weird around, not weird, but I'm very cautious around children and
By
like,
the way,
you know,
he went
teenagers.
that guy
Because
went to maximum security for a week, by the way. Maximum security prison for a week.
Oh, wow.
And he lost his job and he lost his family. His wife wanted a divorce afterwards.
yeah, it's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. I think as men, we have to be very cautious in the moves that we make. And as you get older, your moves, the moves and decisions that you make have more consequences. There's nothing wrong with being extra careful. There are people out there that are super careful, bro, that they'll drive in their car with a fucking mask on by themselves because they're careful. If I see them in the street, I'm laughing at them. I'm like, why do you have a mask on in the car by yourself? But who am I? You know what I mean? So what you decide to do, guys, and attention everybody, what you decide to do is your prerogative, because at the end of the day, nobody pays your bills. You have the key to your own house. You're the king of your own castle. It should be left right there. Right now, there are issues outside in this society that are making things very difficult for men like us, masculine men, right? They're trying to wipe us out. So we're like endangered, frankly. I think that I'm an endangered species because, you know, if I'm masculine and I hold my frame, I can be ostracized. I'm not going to let that sway me, but it's a little bit more of a difficult challenge for me to navigate in today's society because of it.
I think I don't think it's such a bad thing,
like,
though.
you know, like,
Yeah, go.
I'm saying, well, like the story you just put right now, you know, this lady right here probably thought she was had to pay for this car repair, right? So she decides that she's gonna.
No, he fixed it for free. Like, he fixed it for free on the spot, like on the side of the road.
Well, yeah, but you know, I've seen stories like this where, you know, somebody like a guy did this, and because she felt like she was gonna have to give him something in return, she slaps him with you know, with some kind of allegation to where, okay, well, I had to pay for it, or I don't have to give him any. I don't have to feel obligated to do anything for him. Like another case of a woman using her sexuality or something like that to try to get out of doing something, get out of, you know, being obligated to help somebody or give somebody some money or anything. It's like, again, you know, you want to help the women, but like I said, being masculine, being chivalrous and all that is almost out the window now. It's a lost art, a lost, you know, whatever you want to call it. You just can't do it no more. You have to be extra careful now.
They're not incentivized. They're not incentivized to appreciate chivalry. So with that said, worry about yourself. That's fine. Worry about yourself, guys. I mean, you start there and then everything else should fall into place. But if someone doesn't know, if someone is not, like you said, Sydney, things that are popular become reality, right? So now it is not popular to say thank you. It is not popular to be discreet as far as your sexuality. It's not popular to be feminine anymore. But if it was, we'd be chilling. we'd be great, right? And then we would be incentivized to be chivalrous, to be a white knight, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But right now, that is not the direction it's taken right now. So if we want the old days back, we have to focus on within, build ourselves up, and then we will be prepared to go to war and fix this shit. But if everyone is divided and everyone is not solid together, there's no solidarity, there's no way we're going to win this. There's no way.
Yeah. Something really interesting you said as well before, when you were talking about the popularization and culture and whatnot. I mean, you know, with regards to all of this influence that we're having, it's hard to visualize the impact that we're having right now. It really is. But I don't know, I can't speak for you guys, but I know at least for me, I've been doing this for long enough. I've gotten the emails. I've heard people speak about me. Like, I can now see the trajectory of the impact that myself and others are having. And I think that the more popular our voices become, the more reasonable and rational we'll become, the more people are going to actually listen to what we have to say and take on, like, people are entering our frame now.
Right.
Like, hold your frame. Like, and you said, you're talking before about how kind of feel like you're an endangered species. And I feel that too because of everything I see. But what is actually happening. Your business is growing as a result of you putting yourself into a position where you feel that way. But if anything, you're actually becoming stronger, not more vulnerable.
Right.
It's like someone said to people like, "Oh, aren't you afraid you're going to lose your job?" I'm like, it's like, what are they going to do? Force me into Uber driving? Oh, big fucking deal. I'll drive around all day and make money doing that. It's like, what are you going to do to me? You know, you can't touch me. That song by Sia, Titanium, Bulletproof, Nothing to Lose. Like, I'm fucking bulletproof. What are you going to do? You're going to take me off YouTube? Fine, I'll go just do something else. Like, I'm always on the hustle. You think this is my only avenue of hustle? Like, fuck no, man. Like, I'm all over the place. You can't stop me from dropping DMs, connecting with people, you know, and getting my game on. You can't stop me. And like, I'm a bald ass ginger motherfucker. I'm 40 years old. You know what I mean? People are like, oh, you know, you're just an incel. It's like, yeah, call me what you want. Like, guys like, and I know some people have got issue with him, but I got a lot of respect for the guy, particularly with bringing the brotherhood together in a way that I haven't seen done before. And calls himself Anthony Dream Johnson. Like, shout out to him, man. Like, 21 convention, represent, you know. I would love to go over there this year, but I can't fly, so I can't. He's getting guys like Elliot Hulse and, you know, Coach Greg Adams and so many more unbelievable men together, masculine men in the space. Donovan Sharp, shout out to Donovan Sharp. You know, he's getting all these guys together talking about masculinity, talking about being fathers, talking about being men, not pussified men, not scared men, not men that are held by the balls because they said yes too often, but men.
Right.
Who stand up for themselves, who even when they are slaughtered, they pick up their blood and their guts, they shove it back in, they get a rusty needle, they sew themselves back up and like, right, what next? Bring it. What are you going to do to me?
That's what I'm talking about. And that's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I like to hear, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get chills because that is a description of a real man. Somebody who gets beaten down. It's not how many times you fall down, it's about how many times you get up. And like you said, bro, people are going to call you shit, but you have so many different hustles. That is a trait of a man, somebody who adapts, somebody who does whatever it takes to support themselves and the family if need be. But at the end of the day, I always say this, heavy lies our burden, man. Nobody gives a shit about what you go through as a man. This is why I wanted to participate in this sphere the way I'm doing, because there are a lot of men who feel helpless, alone. Their kids don't want to mess with them. Their wives are raping them, or ex-wives rather, and they just alone, bro. And I think that with this content, with what you're spitting, Sydney, with the shit that you're spitting, Jason, Anthony Dream Johnson's attempts, Donovan Sharp, Coach Greg Adams, all these people in the manosphere has something that somebody can resonate with and give them another sense of hope to say, you know what? My life isn't over, bro. And this, in actuality, in our 40s, this is when shit really starts getting good. You know what I mean? Not shit that we were programmed and learned before. Now, at 40, 46, listen, I've never been more happier to be my age this year in the beer bug, because it really made me see who was weak and who wasn't. And I'm like, yes, so 2021, bro, stay over there. Stay in 2020 because I'm not fucking with you. Straight up. Straight up, Sydney.
Right. By the way, speaking of Anthony Dream Johnson, he had an article written about him by this chick.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Anthony Dream Johnson is, here we go. He's far from anyone's dream. He's a terrified little incel troll. So what's the haps, girls? So this is obviously an article headed towards women. Anthony's charging women $999 for the tedium of listening to him drone on and on about his much hyped 22 convention, Make Women Great Again. But it's like the guy's selling tickets. You know what I mean? Like, how, if women want to buy this stuff, if they want to provide that market to him, go power, right? Like, let them do that. If he's providing something in the free market that people want to listen to and they're going to pay $1,000 to do it US, let them. Like,
right.
Why are you so mad? And it says he's far from anyone's dream. Just take a look at him. Terrified little incel troll and a little boy. Why would women pay to listen to him? Don't worry, incels. There's no difficult to read words included. Here we go. Both Johnson and his hilarious 22 convention, a troll baiting 101 ripped straight from the Trump coloring in playbook. Don't worry, incels. There's no difficult to read words included. Just pictures of women being grabbed by the pussy. The same old trope, alt-right keywords like feminazi, military, and manosphere, and a peppering of stolen, misappropriated progressive language such as mansplaining. triggering toxic masculinity and patriarchy. Now here's the killer. Anthony Dream Johnson, aka Short Dick Man.
Again.
I don't know if you remember this one, bro. Have you heard of the song Short Dick Man by 20 Fingers?
Maybe. It's a unique title, so I think I have. Maybe
I'm gonna share just a
snippet. Okay,
quick little snippet of this song, right?
Go for it. All right.
Where are we here? I got so many windows. I got to quickly scroll through these when I'm sharing these tabs.
You're good.
There we go. Share audio. Right now, this was back in 1994, so this is 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's called Short Dick Man. And I'm going to play this.
Don't want no short dick man. Don't want no short dick man. Don't.
Right? And they want to shame us brothers for not wanting to have sex with fat women. Right? Nothing wrong with being a fat woman. Like, there's guys out there who love fat women. And if you want to be that fat woman that is loved by guys who love fat women, then go ahead. Like, jump on the cupcakes and the pizza train. Like, do what you want. Like, more power to you. But don't come back and complain when there's boys like Sydney over here and AV who are saying, yeah, no, I don't want a slice of that. Like, you have a slice of your pizza and I'm going to leave a slice of you cold in the box.
Right. And that's, you nailed it on the head, bro. Listen, there's some men that like robust women. I don't necessarily like skinny women. You know what I mean? I like a nice curvy woman. And you know what? At my age, bro, I do realize I've had the girls, the model girls. It's a lot of work. You know what I mean? But don't be mad at me or men who have a standard and a requirement that that's not going to work for me. So basically, if you're an overweight woman and I say no, I'm not feeling you, you're going to get mad at me and call me a misogynist. That's the double standard. This is what I'm talking about. Like, you can't do that. And so a woman will reserve a right to say whatever she wants, change her mind whenever she wants, express herself. But when a man does it, he's in the wrong. And that's the problem. So again, for men, know that this is how society is now. Don't worry about it. Just stick to your guns, because you said it earlier. Everyone that's on this platform that has the nuts to get on this platform to show their face and talk this shit is under scrutiny. You know what I mean? It's under scrutiny. I can't even put my real name on here right now, because I still have a 9 to 5. But at the end of the day, when you get older, you have to stand for something. And if you're not standing for anything, you'll fall for anything. As cliche as it sounds, that shit is real.
There's a reason why all of these sayings have been around for eons or hundreds of years sometimes. Stand for anything, stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. Like, all of these little tropes, and I heard a video about this the other day. I'm sitting there going, yeah, that's 100% true. There's a reason these things exist, because they've been proven time and time again.
Yeah, those are testaments of time. They stand the test of time, right? They're not a gimmick. They're not necessarily something that's going to come and go. It's something that stands the test of time. And what will stand the test of time, because from last time I checked, anatomically, we were men, right? And we're still men. Now, men are acting differently as a result of following the narrative and chasing women, right? But if men would focus on themselves, whether you want to go MGTOW, whether you want to be a PUA, I don't really give a shit. Grab your nuts and say, okay, if your father wasn't around, look at an old movie, figure out what you want to be, and just be it.
Right.
And there is somebody out there for you. And if you don't need anybody, more power to you, brother. But for me, I think that I know a lot of men that follow your ideology. I know a lot of men that want to continue to pump and dump till the day that they die. More power to you, as long as you are being the best version of yourself and you are not letting what's happening outside of you affect in here. You're good.
I mean, look, by the way, people will hear MGTOW and they think, this guy's like staying well away from women. It's like, man, you think that this is like a little dry sandbox down here? No, man. I'm I'm dipping it like a biscuit in sauce.
Exactly, sopping it up and all the gravy.
But, look, and the connections that I do have with women, I've actually got the quality of my connection that I have with women that are in my life in some capacity, whether they be friends or like whether I got some sort of sexual or romantic interest. Like I don't let that sway me one little bit. Like they follow my lead or they don't, or they're out of the picture. Period. Like,
Simple.
They don't stop me from making this content. They don't stop me from thinking my own way. They don't stop me from going where, like, dude, I went overseas for like 5.5 weeks, all over Europe and Russia last year, and look, mate, that set me back a bit financially. Like it wasn't cheap, like it cost me, but I was like, man, you know what? I've never done a trip like this before, and it might be a while before I do it again. I'm going to make the most of it. And I just said, I am going, period. And I'm glad
you did that.
Yeah,
because those experiences have helped you become who you are today. It has enhanced your content, and you have better stories to tell that you can pick from and create better analogies for us who hasn't walked in your shoes. So again, I think it's very important for men to do what they want to do as long as it is bettering themselves. It's not necessarily hurting anyone. And I'm sure that those 5 weeks, it sets you back, but money you can get back, experiences you can't. So that you can make the money back, bro. You'll make the money back. Of course you will. But at the end of the day, those experiences are something that's going to be way more valuable than the money you spent to go there.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to quickly pause on that and continue on the tangent. But I just had the one and only comment say, Sydney, do you think I can get a comic book series off the ground at 18? Hell yes, you can. If you have quality content, you can absolutely get a comic book off the ground at 18. It doesn't matter if you are 3 years old. If your stuff is quality, if it resonates with people, if it hits home, then you can do it 100%, no questions asked. So if that's what you love and that's what you're good at, and even if you're not that great at it, but you're getting better, keep working at it. Keep getting better. Keep improving. Because like Colonel Sanders, like KFC, you go, well, KFC is a multi-billion-dollar business all over the world. How can I compete with that? It's like, yeah, guess what? He was competing with McDonald's. This guy's in his 60s. Like, dude's got gray hair and shit. Like, it's probably, a couple of steps away from a nursing home. And the dude's pounding the pavement, like going, this guy had his hustle on. And as a result, he created KFC, one of the biggest fast food chains in the world. Never underestimate the power of every little action you take. By the way, welcome back, Jason.
Yeah, thank God. I'm glad you came back, brother. But let me piggyback on that. 18 years old, man, you're just getting started. Your nuts just dropped, brother. The one and only. I encourage you to do that because at 18, I didn't know what I was doing. Not to say that you don't. Take advantage of your youth. Take advantage of your youth. Apply what you're hearing from older men who maybe have made mistakes, who may not necessarily be where they want to be at this age. But if I had somebody tell me, or I asked a question and Sydney told me this at 18, I would be in a different place. There's a lot of men who have mentors, fathers. They don't have anything to guide them, bro. So I encourage you to put that comic book out and you'll see. Shit, you may think it sucks, but it may resonate with so many people. And I will say, the bar has never been lower. There's so much content out there that's bullshit. It's ridiculous. So stick to your guns. Do what you feel is best for you and do it because you love it and the money will follow.
By the way, Jason, do you have some noise going on your end, bro? Or just feel around?
Yeah. That better?
Done?
That better?
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. By the way, quickly grab something from my room. I want to share something with you guys. Check out.
I keep hearing something.
There we go.
We're good now.
Yeah. I'm going to share with you guys something, a really good way to actually store economic value that keeps it out of the hands of the government and the courts. And give me 1 sec.
Okay. So yeah, Jason, what we were talking about, I'm glad you came back, brother. What we were talking about is just basically, man, men doing what they want to do because they want to do it and not letting society sway them. You know what I mean? Not letting women, not letting their parents, not letting their friends sway them because we came in this shit alone. We're gonna die alone. And at the end of the day, bro, for me at 46, I've never been more at peace. I'm still striving for happiness, right? But I've never been more at peace. And once you're at peace, you can identify what's going to make you happy. Because as you get older, the less you'll need, bro. Bro, I don't need a lot of shit anymore. And that is
need silver.
Feeling travel. You know what I'm saying? There you go. What is that?
It's 1 kilogram of silver.
Okay, wow. Nice.
So this is a really good way to store wealth that can be transferred from you to a woman, as long as they can't physically get their hands on it. You need to make sure of that.
Okay. Yeah, so that's where we're at, bro. I mean, what do you think? I mean, you've been in Iraq. You've had some near-death experiences. I'm sure you have a ton of stories with brotherhood, solidarity. What would you say, or what would you say to the young men who feel like they don't know what side to pick, right? They don't know whether they still want to fuck bitches, but they want to be MGTOW. They don't know what to do. What would you say to the young people who are just easily swayed by all this content and don't know where to go?
Well, when I was a young guy like this, I made a lot of mistakes myself, which I have a ton of stories of. You really just have to focus on yourself. And when you're young, of course, the testosterone is pumping, and you want to go out there and get the money and get these women out there. But I was referencing Scarface. He said, first get the money, then you get the power, get the women. You have to focus on yourself first. You have to get, as young men, we're not taught to get our wealth up first, to get ourselves established. And then after that, once you reach a certain value and you got more mature, then you can find if you want to find a woman, and you have the right to choose, you can choose better. But of course, we're trained to go out there, get hitched early, get a whole lot of debt with a whole bunch of kids, and then, our life is ruined at 35. We never followed our dreams,
Right.
You got to focus on yourself. Establish yourself, do everything you want to do in your life, so that way, when you're our age, 40, everything, you can be experienced before you get to this point. You made a whole lot of mistakes, especially with women.
Right. Agreed. And that's the thing, man. That seems to be the echo chamber, man, from a lot of guys. We made mistakes, older guys, but people are not listening. But, hopefully they'll learn, and content like you guys continue to pump out content. One day, hopefully it'll sink in.
Look, it's sinking in more and more every day. And by the way, Alpha, do you have a YouTube channel, by the way?
No, not necessarily. I have a channel. It's not what I've been doing is I created a channel that has some excerpts from the interviews that I've been on. The reason why is because obviously they've been, I've been on them, but I don't necessarily know what direction I want to take, Sydney, or how I want to contribute verbally. Like I said, I'm still new to this. I'm enjoying the participation. I'm learning. But I definitely want to make sure that when I do have original content, that it is meaningful and useful, that will stand the test of time. I'm trying to be very consistent in my viewpoints, and I think I'm doing a good job because this is how I genuinely feel. But ultimately, man, I don't necessarily know if I want to do content. I definitely want to bridge some gaps and bring some awareness to this shit, because it is so vital and critical for men to understand that they are not alone. There are people out there that are living their lives after the mistakes that they've made. And it's very important for men to know that there is a brotherhood out there, whether you want to call it a club, a cult, whatever. As long as a man can take from this portion, and become better, I think it's a good thing, man. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm kind of at a writer's block, but I just want to focus on participating and, being on platforms like this to kind of spread the message and kind of see if I can help bridge some gaps.
100%. I mean, I love closing gaps. You know what I mean?
It's something else I like to say, that a lot of people think that our community, MGTOW, Red Pill. A lot of people think that this thing is all about women. I came to Red Pill not only talking about female nature and things like that, but it's a way of life. Like, it's an eye opener to everything out there in society. Like we're talking about, not just women, politics, sports, everything. Like there's the truth. The shirt that Alpha says the truth is censored, and it really is. And Red Pill is also about that. It's a way of life. Taking things that they say for how as they are, not as we like them to be.
Right.
There's a lot of truths out there. There's things that It's hidden in plain sight, really, if you're not paying attention. Like I always say on Instagram, you gotta pay attention to this stuff because it's out there. They train not to see it naturally.
Exactly, and I think men, yeah, and I think men, because we're not as emotional as women or easily swayed, we're more of a logical creature. Yeah, so I think we can absorb things like that better. And I think that we have to stand on that, what we see and what we know to be true, and lead by example. Because even within our community, all the dumb beef and shit is silly. But if we lead by example, because again, like you said, women are watching this content too. So when you see two men bickering about looks matter, looks doesn't, it's stupid. Okay? So now, how do you expect a woman to take you seriously if you're a grown ass? If me, for instance, 46, arguing with another dude about you're right, I'm wrong. A woman's not going to find that attractive. Now, it's also not a good quality characteristic as a man. So, what's your mission statement, AV? What are you trying to do on YouTube? What I'm trying to do is let a guy know that was just broke up with his girl, made all the wrong mistakes, and doesn't know how to get his life back. I want him to know, hey, listen, I know a guy. I know a guy named Sidney Migdal that can help you. I know a guy named The Working Man that can help you. So he can revive and give himself a chance, because some guys feel like they only have one shot at this. You have one shot at our physical life, but you can always reinvent yourself as a man. Always.
Mm-hmm. Also, just quickly, on that point of bickering, I noticed that there is some disagreement going on in the chat. So love you guys. I would just really appreciate it if we could all agree to disagree and just leave it at that. There's no going back and forth, and we disrespect to people defending themselves. I just think that it's not productive in the chat at the moment. But much love to you guys, and I appreciate you being passionate. I want this to be a really positive conversation from all angles. So just wanted to bring that out there if I can.
All good. I don't pay attention to the chat, man. I mean, like I said, for me, I just want to be a resource for men and make sure that they can. I want to remind them that they can do whatever the fuck they want to do, as long as they're doing it. Listen, your success has no bearing on me. I would love to contribute to your success, just like my success has no bearing on you. You allowing me to come on your platform was a very nice gesture, which I appreciate. And anything that you need from me, I'd be more than happy to return the favor. Why? Because that's how shit works, man. That's how societies are built.
Well, can I actually just say that, it's funny you say, what if you need from me? But so the reason that we connected, just so everyone can know the story. By the way, Jason, I've muted you, but you can unmute yourself at any time if you want to say anything, just because there's a little bit of background noise. I saw, because you've been putting out a lot of content on Instagram, AV, and I saw that you made a comment. I'm getting a bit of background noise. Can you just turn your speakers down just a little bit? Yeah, so I actually saw some of the work that you were doing on Instagram, and I replied to one of your stories with a shirt that you put up, and the shirt was, "I'm the space she needed." And I literally replied to your story, and I was like, man, I got to get me one of these. And I was like, I meant that as in, I got to get me one of these. Like, I'm going to go buy one. And you reply back and you're like, what's your address, bro? Like, I got you. And I'm like, man, you know what? Like, this guy's legit. And I really appreciated that. And
no doubt.
Because I love the content, that's also part of the reason why I wanted to have you on, so that I could help you promote that. By the way, I've actually put a link to the Alpha Villain store in the chat. I'm going to quickly just share some of those.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Because it's actually really, really cool stuff. Let me just bring it up now on Teespring. I'll share this stuff. So just so you guys can see some of the designs that Alpha Villains has been putting out. Here we go. And there's different colors to this. So there's no sympathy, mouthpiece, muscles, money, Hoeconomics.
Economics. Yeah.
And this is the one. I'm the space she needed. So I've ordered that one in blue. 3 hots and a thought. Frauds. Ask your mum why I left. Oh yeah, that one is lit. The truth is censored. I actually saw Chris Cantu wearing that, and I'm going to get my those as well. Be the proof a simp took my girl. Yeah, because he was giving her money that you weren't giving. But if that's what it took for her to leave, then let her go. Like, seriously, let her go.
Right.
If that's what it took. Deep in thought, wondering. Peace over EU ****Y. Heavy lies the burden. kill your own dinner. Yeah, 100%. I coach your ex. Oh man, that one's a bit too close for home for me. 2 out of 3 ain't shit. Restoring order, punch your own clock. Quiet money, his lesson, her loss. Field work makes the dream work. Money handsome. POF, catch and release. If you don't know what POF is, I'm not going to tell you. You all know. Cheapest. And then all of these in hoodies as well. So it's actually really good.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I put a link to that in the description below. And by the way, you know, with what I just said about the, you know, with respect to coaching, it doesn't matter who the person that's giving the advice is. I think if that person has a valid message to share, whether it's, you know, an ex as like someone to do with, you know, your ex, or and like it's really too close to home. If the message resonates, the message resonates. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Everyone's on their path, and you know, if there's been a relationship breakdown for whatever reason, then there's been a relationship breakdown, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be for like a breakdown. It just needs to be like a logical separation. So, for example, if you've got someone living in 2 different countries, like that's not going to be practical. If you've got someone who their love language is quality time and physical connection, and you don't have a lot of quality time to give them that physical connection, I actually don't feel that it's ethical to remain in that relationship with that person, because what you're doing is you're leaving them hanging on for something that you can't deliver at the level that they need it in order to stay happy in that relationship. And that actually was the case for me with a previous relationship. And I still have a fantastic relationship, like fantastic connection with that woman. And, you know, I got a lot of respect for her. She's one of my followers. Like we chat, you know, we connect on a regular basis. But I couldn't remain in that relationship because it wasn't ethical for me to continue in it when I couldn't give her what it is that she needed from a partner.
And I applaud you for that, bro. That is that's another attribute as a man, to know that, to have the ethical, moral compass, to know that if a good person is a good person and you can't give them what they feel that they deserve, be a man about it and say, listen, you know what? This isn't working. So I applaud you for that. And you said something else also, man. You know, it doesn't matter who's providing the message, as long as the message hits the person that's receiving it.
Right.
I don't give a shit. Listen, I learn from children. I learn from adults. I learn from everybody that I come across. Some of the information is valuable for me. Some of it isn't. But at the end of the day, you know, to have disagreements is healthy. But
yes,
as long as you know that a disagreement can't sway you from doing what you want to do, it's fine. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't necessarily have a backbone. They attribute their backbone to their social status, their physical attributes, their money. That's not a backbone, bro. Because let me tell you something. You know, I've lost, I've won. I've said this on numerous platforms, bro. I've had a lot of shit, you know what I mean, that I no longer have. And a testament to my character was I never quit. And that is a testament to a man, because you can lose this shit. You can get, God forbid, get into an accident, you lose your limbs. Now what? That car that you pushing, that you showing everybody, the car's totaled, you can't drive. Now what? You can't work out anymore because your legs are broke. You gain weight. Now what? It's all in here. It's all about where your heart is and your mind. And that is a testament of a real man. And a real woman will recognize that. Because I'll tell you what, I don't want a woman that is impressed by my watch, my car, my crib, because those are the women that you know that are not there for you. I want,
baby.
You already, yeah, let's go. Tell us the time. That's all they need. Yes, you want a woman that's going to want you for you. That's what they called ride or die. You know what I'm saying? Ride or die. So it's like what you don't see is what you get. And if you earn the opportunity to see what you don't see, you're going to be a lucky woman. You know what I'm saying? But I think that too many people are leading with their wallets. And that's a result of social media. They're leading with what they have, not with who they are. As corny as it sounds, bro, that's the real that's going to determine your longevity in any relationship, whether it's business or romantic.
And you know, and I'd like to touch on something that Sidney Mitchell just said about, you know, the female. you know, that's another thing, you know, I would say about being a man, you know, having discernment, being able to make good judgment, good decisions. You know, like the story I did about, you know, Offset and Cardi B. And the story came out now that, you know, he didn't like the fact that she came with the WAP song and all that. Well, that's who she was when you married her. You know, she was a streetwalker. She'd been in clubs. She's been on reality TV. Like, who did you think she was? Did you think you were going to change her after you married her? Like, you know, we all know you can't turn hoes into housewife. And you all know that
You saw her without
a woman, you're going to give her choices. You know, so you trying to change her, oh, well, you came with this WAP song, and now, you know, now you look back because your lady out here making songs about her, you know, her lady parts. So what makes her different from the WAP song from the Streetwalker that she was a few years ago? She's the same chick. You didn't have enough discernment to, you know, hey, you know what? She was cool. She was a fun time, but I ain't going to marry her. Well, now you in for the long haul now because now she's about to break you.
Yeah. And it's like, and I also wanted to point out as well, and look, man, Jason, I totally agree with everything you just said. Like, that is 100% real talk. One thing I've noticed as well is there's a lot of guys out there that will say that women are always the same. And I don't think that would be an accurate statement. You know, women can change just like men can. Absolutely. It's just that they have to have a reason to change. And they have to actually come to a realization about themselves and really take the red pill for themselves in their own lives in the context and framework of what's important to them. Because people have no motivation to change. Like people won't change unless they have a motivation to do so. Every single one of us, every one of the three of us, every single person watching, every single person that has ever been birthed is a selfish motherfucker, but they're selfish for different reasons. Even Mother Teresa, right? Whether you're religious or not, it doesn't matter. People hear Mother Teresa and they have this image of virtue and kindness and compassion and love and, you know, and giving. But even she did things for her own reasons. She did things because she felt good about doing stuff for others, right? Like I started my channel not because I wanted to help men in the beginning, but because I needed an outlet to rant. And I'd seen other MGTOW channels. And I was like, well, you know, if anyone out there is going to listen to what I have to say, like, I wanted someone to hear me because there was no one in my family, no one in my workplace. You know, I just separated from my ex-wife not even 12 months ago, and all my friends decided that they were out. They're like, see you later, man. We don't agree with you. We're not down with you anymore. We don't fuck with you. And I was like, all right, well, you know, I got no one. I can't talk to anyone. I can't pick up the phone. And I don't want to be that guy who I was like, you know what? I'm going to put this out there and anyone who wants to listen can listen. And I did my first video on respect is earned, not owed. And I still deeply believe that. I hold that belief firm to myself to this very day. But now I spread the message because I see the impact it has on others. I feel good about helping other guys, right? And I'm not looking for any sort of praise or accolades or like some fucking you know, big plaque to put on a wall being like, oh, Sydney helped 1 million men. Like, fuck, it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 1 trillion men.
Exactly.
The fact that I helped someone to better their lives and create a lasting legacy for this world and a lasting legacy of change, because when men lead, when they truly lead, women follow. And the only women that don't follow are the ones whose house smells like cat piss and wine.
Hey, you know what? Real quick, you know, what you were saying just a second ago about what do you say about women taking the red pill, things like that. You know what? Unfortunately, women aren't going to take the red pill until what we call they hit the wall, right? Until, you know, now they've exhausted all their options, and you know, now all of a sudden they're 45 and they want to pump out some kids and they want a family. Well, if you were doing that at 20, you know, when I graduated high school, I was on that same thing, you know, get married, have a family and everything. And I ended up doing that and then getting divorced, which is another story. But, you know, if women do that at their age, when their fertility is high, when they're youthful, when their money-making ability is still high, then we wouldn't have all these problems. We probably wouldn't have a need for a MGTOW red pill. But in 2020,
right.
This is, you know, this is female nature now. So now I'm going to have to speak out on, you know, the dangers of getting to a relationship because women have, you know, which again, like I said, there's the chicken or the egg, you know, do we allow it or do they just take over? But it is what it is now. You know, we have to step back up now, take over and take back the right.
Right, exactly. By the way, something to go back to something we were saying before. And by the way, I got Working Man's Instagram up if you want to go follow him, the Working Man 20. And you can also search up if you want alpha villains. It's very, very easy. So it's alpha villains. There it is right there. Alpha villains m.a.n. But this is the post that I saw this morning. And like literally, this is how much content you're uploading. You've done like 4 posts since at least this morning. And this one here, this is real. So it says, we could be married 10 years, but if the guy I loved at age 15 came back, I'd choose him. So,
Where were you? Where were you? Lost in this. You found me. You found me.
so look at that.
I saw that, blew my mind. What?
You got to check out the look in her eyes when she actually is doing that. It's like this look of like longing and familiarity, and she misses him, you know, and because she's been away from this dude from a long time, and you can tell that she is already thinking about the dude that she loved at 15.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to right, exactly. And I'm actually going to share with you. I'm not going to put it up on the screen, but this is a message that I received in relatively recent times with a particular individual. I'm just bringing my WhatsApp for desktop here. And with this particular individual, they said to me, like, why do I, or pretty much what they were saying was, why do I always come back to you? And there we go. Let me just type in a keyword here, see if I can find this. I'll share this. And look, some people have multiple soulmates that, you know, they've connected with over a lifetime. And I don't want to get too philosophical and like airy fairy on this, but there are people that we've connected with in our life that, you know, we'll always yearn to have that connection again, even if we don't have it. You know, like for example, even my ex-wife, like I know that logically us getting back together would not work out. Like I wouldn't be happier. And it's not because she's not an amazing person. It's not because I don't get along and vibe with her big time. Like we still, when we actually hang out, like when we've got to get together for whatever purpose, whether that's sorting out the finalizing of a divorce and stuff, we're still happy. We're laughing. We're carrying on. Like we give each other a hug when we see each other. There's no animosity. Yes, she was hurt by it. And, you know, I was hurt in my own way as well. But look, that's fine. That is what it is. But where is it here?
Let me piggyback on that, and you know, you know, your openness, and I know somebody said that in the chat. That's a sign of maturity and evolution.
Sorry,
you've evolved, and the fact that you guys can still be civil after you share something. Sometimes, man, listen, shit doesn't work out. It doesn't mean that the person's bad. It's just that it wasn't a good fit, bro. And you have to be mature enough to understand that. And sometimes you appreciate somebody when you're no longer with them. And you nurture that relationship. And sometimes the relationship that you're not with the person romantically is a better relationship than you were with them romantically. So I applaud you for that, for being able to remain civil and just have a bond. Because again, you know, you guys came into each other's life for a reason. It didn't work out, but at least you were able to remain in each other's lives in a way that is not toxic and is healthy for you both.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for saying that. And I think that, you know, I don't tend to have too many separations of connection from people, whether they be friends or family or whatever, unless that person is so unbelievably toxic that there's no other option than to the separation. But if they're not a toxic person, it just didn't work out, then I respect that as well. So this message I got says, please keep in mind, she said, this is just out of the blue. I had to go back a little while to find this, but it says, do you ever think that our souls are interconnected? I find it so interesting. And she said, please keep in mind, I'm currently on there was an IV drug she was on, so maybe she was a bit more open than she would otherwise be. So I may not make a lot of sense. I just find it so interesting how nothing about our relationship since the day we ever met has made sense. Like, why are you the only one my brain always goes back to? It's just weird. And you know, this is the sign of, look, if you make an imprint on someone's lives, whether you are a man sharing your knowledge with other men, like there's some people that have such an affinity with some content creators that they've never met before because they've made such an imprint on their lives that they will never ever forget them, and they will always be deeply ingratiated to them, if that's even the correct use of the word for that. And it's like there's nothing wrong with that being a lifelong connection, and nothing wrong with that being a lifelong affinity. And I think that more people are honest about these sort of things and how the impact other people have made on their lives has created who they are. I think that's a great thing.
You hit it on the nail. You said, I think you said this, more honest. I think people need to be a little bit more honest on who impacts their lives. And we've been touching on this lately. I've been on a couple of panels, homage, right? Paying homage to people that really influence you. It doesn't make you less of a man. It just makes you, it really defines your character. So if somebody does a nice gesture for you, it's okay to share the fact that somebody did a nice gesture. It's okay to somebody inspired you. And, like you said, if you imprint somebody, whether it's a woman, a business partner, and it comes from the soul, right? You had no intentions of taking their soul or doing anything. That's when you know it's the most impactful for the person. And that is true purpose, right? This is a word that we talk about in the manosphere, purpose. You got to be on your purpose. You got to be on your purpose. The way I perceived being on your purpose initially was being selfish, achieving your purpose at any cost, whether you step on anybody or not. And there's a part of it that you have to kind of just separate yourself and just do what you need to do. But for me, at my age, as days pass and the days I continue to immerse myself into this content, I'm realizing for me, purpose is doing something that I enjoy and something that is fulfilling, right? So if I rescue somebody inadvertently from not pulling the trigger, jumping out the goddamn window, or what have you, that's purposeful for me. Getting an email. I mean, I'm getting DMs from guys that are telling me, that are saying that I'm doing a good job. They're praising me. It's giving me inspiration to continue. It's fueling me, and it's making me feel like this isn't an old guy trying to start a rock band at 46 years old. This is something that's impactful. So it's taking a life of its own, bro. And I think that is true purpose. If you're doing something that you enjoy, something that can help people, that is something that's going to stand the testament of time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's my goal. And, every day I continue to evolve, continue to bond with people and learn different things. I think every man should find something that's going to make them happy. And if what you're doing makes you happy while helping people, it's a win-win.
Exactly. Yeah. And, I think that the biggest thing that is so understated about what all of us guys are doing, by the way, before I continue on that point, AV, who has had you on their panels? Because I want to give them a shout out.
Oh man, so I've been on Afi Kingdom. Shout out to Afi Kingdom. I appreciate you, Red Pill Chauvinist. I've been on Coach EO, Mr. Champion Game. That's my dude. I've been on Red Sings the Blues as well. The club, Professor Rich as well. These guys have given me opportunities to just chop it up with them, spread my message, and I'm indebted to them as well. I've talked to them often, and they threw me a bone, man. They took a chance on me, and like I said, I try to stay consistent because realistically, my participation in this sphere is to kind of help people. I don't necessarily know how I'm going to do it, but I do know that the things that you guys do help me, and I think it's funneling out. So shout out to Afi Kingdom, Professor Rich, Coach EO, Red Pill Chauvinist, Red Sings the Blues, and all the other guys that really help support me. I appreciate you guys, man. And like I said, whatever I can do to help you guys, I'm going to continue.
Gaines as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Fresh Prince CEO, Myron Gaines, all these guys, man, like I said, they really took a chance on me, man. I'm never gonna forget that, bro. So I just want to make sure this shit grows so we can really make a dent in what we need to do to kind of feel better about ourselves and function easier as men outside.
Yeah,
exactly. And I got a comment up here from Mike says, holding on to hatred is just like holding onto a hot piece of coal. The longer and tighter you hold it, the more you burn yourself, which is why acknowledging anger and moving on from it's important. And I think that the easiest way personally to let go of hatred is to understand what the mechanics of what went on behind the scenes to cause the situation that caused you to feel hatred. Because when you understand the mechanics, you understand where you went wrong. You now know, okay, this wasn't by accident. I now know exactly what steps and what things took place to get us to that point where I felt burned. So I now know how to avoid having that happen to me again. And that gives me solace and peace in the knowledge that I'm safe now.
You know, and I do, you know, I do the same thing with a lot of situations too. Like, you know, seeing where the progression started, you know, taking ownership of the part that I may have had in the situation, you know, to say that, you know, okay, well, maybe it wasn't all their
Oh,
say something here. Yeah.
I think we may have. Oh, hang on, Jason. Keep going.
Yeah, if I didn't say a certain something, you know, or do something, or if I didn't let something slide, like I shouldn't have, you know, stopped this and started this, and you know, taking ownership, you know, being accountable for my part in the situation, and then you know, releasing that anger and say, you know what, I could have did better in the situation, or let me let it go, and for the next time this happens, you know, I know what to do, I know what to look for.
Straight out, man. Straight
You know,
out.
I will say this too. As far as anger and hatred, sometimes you have to forgive people, not for them. You have to forgive the people. You have to forgive people for yourself.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
the only time when you hate somebody, you have anger, you carry anger. The only person that it's affecting is you, bro. You know what I mean? Some people, you can hate a chick for cheating on you, leaving you, and she's moving on with her life, and you're still sulking about it. It's only doing harm to you. So sometimes you have to first forgive yourself. You have to acknowledge what you did wrong. And I think with understanding yourself, it'll help you understand the opposite sex or whoever, you know, did you wrong. That's very important because men don't take the time to understand themselves, to set standards for themselves, to create boundaries for themselves, to minimize people coming in to affect them. So now you want to blame. So kind of like what you said about Offset. That comment that Offset made was for damage control, bro. That's kind of like saying, you know, he messed up. Excuse my language, pardon me. He know he messed up. She was a stripper. He knew what he was getting into, but now he's talking about, oh, to save face, when she created WAP, she did way worse things that he could have left her for. So the point is, you can't blame somebody for treating you a certain way. We only allow people to treat us how we allow them to treat us. You have to teach people how to treat you. And the first order of doing that is by leading by example. You don't let anything slide either, bro. If something's out of pocket, check that.
So just got done.
So did you get some audio in the background there?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, sorry about that. All good, all good.
So that's pretty much it. I mean, I think men need to forgive. I think not only is society hard on us, I think men ourselves, we need to forgive ourselves. And then, because listen, man, the old saying goes, life doesn't get easier, we get stronger. And I think that men are too busy focusing on what is wrong with the world, what is wrong with women, and they're not really focusing on what's wrong with them to fix it. If you fix yourself, bro, you'll be better equipped to deal with life. And that's the shit men are not doing. And that's what I stand on. Because for me, I'm old school. I'm not really concerned about the thoughts, bro. Because if she's a thought and I'm going to go get her. Just because she's a thought doesn't mean she's going to be a thought with me. But at the same time, if she's not in line with my standards, it's a moot point anyway. It doesn't even fucking matter. So who gives a shit?
And you know, that's the thing. You know, like women, like I said earlier, you know, when something happens to a woman, they circle the wagons around that lady, that chick. She like, you know, well, somebody gets assaulted, somebody says something bad about a woman, they all gather around, you know, the Beehive and all these, you know, fan bases. Well, you know, they also have standards. You know, they also, you know, I'm not gonna date a guy over 6 feet tall. You know, this whole 6'6" and all that. Well, man, we don't have standards. We'll fuck anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't have no kind of standard. Then when you get burned by the chick, then like you said, then you want to be sulky and salty. Meanwhile, she had 3 other guys after you, and you still.
That's what I'm saying. So we're not putting the onus on the man. You know what I mean? And that's why there are certain philosophies and ideologies that I appreciate and resonate with the MGTOW community, because the MGTOW community, although they say a lot of facts, they're not everything that I agree with, but they have some philosophies that push the betterment of men. Right? Now, for me, men and women are better together. I still love women. This is not a gender war. I'm not participating in a gender war bashing broads. What I'm saying is there are certain facets of society and women that occur that we cannot ignore. So instead of focusing on that dumpster fire, it's kind of like driving on the highway and seeing an accident and everyone's stopping and looking. Fuck that shit. I got my own way to go. You know what I'm saying? I'm focused on my purpose, my destination, shit I got to do. I don't give a shit about that person. Respectfully. So I think men need to focus, stop worrying about what is wrong with women and start focusing on what's right with you and what's wrong with you to fix it. And that's it. It's simple.
Yeah.
You know what? To add to that, people like Sidney MGTOW, Coach Greg Adams, them, you know what? And they always say this when they do a video on, like what I do a lot of, current event stuff because it's relative to, the working man like myself, the common man. Well, they do a video on, what's the word I'm looking for? Men's improving empowerment. Those videos get low views. But when they talk about some,
Right.
Dr. Dre or, Offset, yeah, the video I did on what's her name? Just the porn star chick. What's her name?
Mia Khalifa.
That video got over 1,000 views.
That's what I'm saying. I'm glad you said that. So from a business standpoint, for somebody who doesn't work, who's doing this full time, you have to appreciate their strategy behind it. But you can't complain to a Sydney or a CGA and say you always talking about the same shit. Listen, there's more depth to Sydney. Yeah, there's more depth to all of these content creators, but you guys want to keep hearing this. This is what's paying my bills. So if you want fresh content, if you guys would improve and actually listen to what they're saying, maybe they could talk about something else so you can improve on something else. You guys keep talking about broads and you're mad about it, but you get mad at the content creators that you keep listening to. It's a circle, bro. And again, it starts with you. Like the big homie, Coach EO, it begins and ends with the man. It ends with you, bro. If you start it, you got to finish it, my G. You can't just act like, oh, girls ain't shit, but let me tune into Sydney to say the same shit, but you keep telling us the same shit. I'm telling you the same shit because you're not listening. That's why.
I think so far in this, we've been going for an hour and 11 minutes, and we've had maybe just shy of maybe $15 in super chats for argument's sake. And I have no issue with whether we get 0 super chats or whether we get $1,000 worth of super chats. That's irrelevant. That's not what I'm doing it for. Right. And this is why we're talking here and we've been going for this long, because we all have reasons past financial gain and we all have our own different sources of income to provide for ourselves. But, look, there's content creators out there who make a living from this stuff and they have to cover the current events because that's where the money is. And Solo TV, shout out to Solomon Jones, your gracious host, who has many times he's called that out. And he's like, yo, man, it's like you motherfuckers want to give me hundreds of dollars of super chats when I'm talking about Cardi B or Kim Kardashian. It's like, but then when I tell you some real shit, you want to skimp out. It's like, come on, guys. And so he's at the point now where he's like, look, man, until my Cash App hits $100, I ain't starting the show, because that then incentivizes guys to donate. And look, I don't begrudge him doing that, because A, it works, and B, it's like and this comes back to something. If we have an incentive, if we want to watch Solo TV's 84 show, if we really want to watch it, we'll keep donating until he starts. And it's like, if we really want women to pull into line, and I'm not saying that all women are out of line, but there are some that are.
For the most part.
If we want to create a culture of healthy interpersonal dynamics between men and women, right? Because we can't avoid women, so we may as well make the dynamic work, right? Some of us can, but it's not for everyone. And some people work in offices, some people work in female-dominated industries, particularly where they're making good money, because those big companies are hiring women like they're hotcakes. So if we want to actually create a culture where women are, acting not only in a healthy way that benefits us, but also in a healthy way that benefits them. So it's not like we're just all selfish, being like, oh, we want women to be this way, so we're going to do this to manipulate them, control them. It's like, no, because us shaming women for having OnlyFans, us shaming women for selling their bodies as prostitutes or as strippers, we not only do we think this is not good and not a good example to be brought forward into popular culture for young kids to take on, but it's also a really, really bad thing for these women in the long term. Sure, you might make some cash, you probably go spend it all. In most times, some chicks will bank that money and buy the house and set themselves up financially for the future. But don't come looking for child support and alimony later. You know what I'm saying? You made your choices. You could have chose. It's like, what blows me away is when I see all of these chicks who have got humanities degrees, gender studies, sociology, philosophy, and stuff. And they're all here saying, "Oh, there's not enough women in CEO." I'm like, "Bitch, did you choose? Did you choose engineering as a degree? I didn't."
You chose your path.
Solution.
Facts, bro. And you know what it is too, brothers? It's no accountability.
Yes, that was something.
No accountability. And it's very simple. There's no accountability. And so not only as men, you have to accept the accountability for your male's action, but now we have to accept the accountability for a female's action. And that's the thing. That's the issue. So the bottom line is what I encourage men to do to counteract that dynamic is to focus on what you want to focus on, live a minimalist lifestyle in the sense, not necessarily with tangible items, but on your mindset. Focus on what you need to focus on, and everything else that comes after your goals is gravy. You know what I mean? And then you can maneuver accordingly. Right. Your mind.
By the way, speaking, I just want to touch on that dodging of accountability. Oh man, this is unbelievable. Brisbane mother avoids prison after stabbing teenage daughter during alcohol-fueled fight.
Avoids prison. Oh man. Yeah, see, here's no. I say this all the time. Like, you know what?
I'm gonna let you handle this one.
I know y'all saw. Well, Alpha, you might have saw the story right like a few months ago, where this lady shot this guy in the head on Facebook Live, right? And then a few months ago, you hear about she's getting out because of COVID or something like that. You shot the guy in the head. This guy's gonna be on a colostomy bag in a wheelchair, permanently disabled for the rest of his life, and she gets to walk the streets. You know. These guys get these false charges put on them, and this one chick that got the football star jammed up, and she got time served. She only did like a year in prison. Meanwhile, this guy did like 3-4 years in prison. He was supposed to go to NFL draft. His fucking life is completely ruined, and she gets to go give the next guy. It's like, where's the accountability here? Women get to walk scot free, or like the one chick that got caught with the college scam, and she gets to choose her prison.
Wow.
Like, come on.
It's like, I'm going to give you a list of the prisons for you to go to so you can pick the one that you want to go to the most. Get the fuck out of here.
Like, close to her house, too. The family come visit her anytime they want. Like, really. I go do a college scam, and, man, they're going to make me pay restitution and everything.
Like, I want to go to the one that's only a few minutes walk from my house so my mum can come and see me anytime she wants and bring me cookies. Get the fuck out of here. Get in the cage, bitch.
I'm like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, get back in your cage.
By the way, on that article, right? Get this. A mother who told her teenage daughter to, quote unquote, die, you dog, after repeatedly stabbing her during an alcohol-fueled fight on Brisbane's Bayside last year, has escaped a jail sentence. The court heard she did not attempt first aid after stabbing her daughter in the face, neck, and
face.
The woman's attempted murder charge was downgraded to a domestic violence offense from attempted murder. Justice Glenn Martin, the mangina, told the woman she was very lucky not to be facing murder charges. Now, and this is something I've noticed you do really well, Jason. You look at the little fine details and you break it down. So something that I know you would have picked up on is during sentencing submissions, the court heard on the morning of the stabbing, the pair were heavily intoxicated after drinking a ridiculous amount of alcohol when they began arguing. Okay, so this is a 16-year-old girl. Right? This is a teenage girl.
How is she even drinking alcohol with your mother at 16?
Right. So the mother is not only breaking the law by serving alcohol to a minor, she's not only breaking the law by being aggressive and violent, but she tried to kill her own freaking daughter, stabbed her in the face, neck, and back. Like this wasn't like, she lashed out at her and with an object to hurt her just because she was angry. Like she literally tried to kill her own daughter. This is a single mother because obviously no father in the house.
Oh yeah. Gotta make sure you catch that part of the story. You don't hear nothing about no man in there.
Yeah, exactly. They don't mention she was a single mother. They don't want to bring that to the attention because then people are going to be like, hey, I'm correlating those two things together. So there's no man around to stop the teenage daughter from drinking alcohol that the mother is illegally serving to her. There's no father around to protect the daughter, and there's no father around to set a good example of how to behave. Now, it says the court told the fight escalated when the teenager threw 2 mugs at her mother, hitting her once in the head and causing her to bleed heavily. Okay, so let's just check this out, right? Teenager threw 2 mugs at the mother. Where did she learn this behavior from? Where?
And you know, of course, they would make the mother the victim, even though, like you said, she was serving alcohol to a minor. Like that's a whole charge by itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's that's a whole other stream, brothers. I mean, you know, listen, man, I was raised by a single mom. You know, my dad was the cliche ladies man, Caribbean dude. That lack of father figure has delayed, right, my progress in life, and I've said this already on different platforms. But the bottom line is, man, there are certain things and rules that are occurring right now that can't be changed, and I think that we're trying to move an inanimate object. Women are going to be treated differently despite their behavior. It's going to be a little, you know, the consequences aren't going to be as severe as they are for men. Similar with race, right? We're not going to go there, but this is what it is. Fine. The bottom line is this, bro. It's unfortunate that men are not stepping up to the plate. Listen, you don't get along, you got to leave the broad, fine. But you can't start another family without taking care of your kids, or at least providing an example, some type of authority figure. For a 16-year-old girl to be drinking alcohol, and fine. I mean, listen, we did that shit too when we were kids, but to get out of hand like that, bro, that person is going to be a cancer to this society. Okay. I posted something earlier today on Time Magazine. Megan Thee Stallion was on the cover of Time Magazine for Influencer of the Year. Okay. And I said, listen, it's unfortunate that Megan Thee Stallion, no shit on her as far as her talent is concerned, but for Time Magazine to put her on as Influencer of the Year, that sends a very bad message, brothers. That sends a message that you can talk about your wet ass pussy. You can do all this dumb shit for aspiring women to try to emulate this. What about the girls that will never fill out like that? What about the girls that don't have the talent that she has? What about the girls that are can't talk about their private parts? What category does that put them in, right? So now you have young, impressionable girls aspiring to be this figure that is an influence on Time Magazine, and men are looking at you like, what are you doing? So it's a vicious cycle. So the female behavior, I don't blame them. I blame the allowance of men allowing this to happen. And I blame men for not sticking to their gut and their innate animalistic, I guess, virtue to be a man and say, this is wrong. So everyone's at fault here. Only thing you guys can do is focus on, worry about your lawn. Don't worry about the other guy's lawn. Worry about your lawn. Worry about what you do in your house. And if everybody did that, we would have some order. We can't change
lawn being cut by others.
That's what I'm saying. So it's there's a lot of content and a lot of valuable knowledge out there, but everyone has a theory, but no one's practicing or talking about how to fix it. And I think that's the problem. And it's going to continue to be this way until we all just say, listen, let's just do what we need to do ourselves, and everyone minds their own goddamn business, and things will start to turn. But you can't turn a ship. It takes a while to turn a ship, man.
Right. Especially when it's a heavy ass oil tanker laden with cargo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got some momentum. So it's going to take a hell of a lot of tugboats with some serious firepower.
Yeah, and I think people know that. That's why they keep doing the dumb shit. They're like, man, this is not going to change anytime soon. Fuck it. Let me just live my life. Let me contribute. Let me bitch about it. Let me pump and dump. Let me do this. Let me do that. But at the end of the day, as a human being that has morals, that wants to do right and really wholeheartedly wants to change things, it starts with us. It starts with you guys, the content creators, because a lot of people don't listen. Me entering this space, I respect you guys, man, because this shit is hard. It's hard to be on camera, maintain your frame, have a life, and provide content to people that really need this help. So I think it's twofold. The content creators that have a responsibility to what the mission, what they're trying to convey, and the people that we're helping, they need to also participate and actually do what you guys are saying. It's a team. We're a team, right? So On this panel, we're a team right now. But whoever's listening, they're also part of the team. Everyone has their role. Everyone's talking about female and male roles, but nobody's talking about male roles. You know what I'm saying? On the team, not everyone can play forward. Not everyone can play point guard. But if we all work in unison, we'll all have a ring and we'll all be at the championship parade at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. And you talked about leadership, Sydney. That's what it is. We lack leadership. Too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. That's what it is.
And sometimes you'll get people that say, well, you know, I'm not as good as that goalie, or I'm not as good as that you know, goal attack player, or I'm not as good as that quarterback, depending on which sport is your thing. But the thing is, what happens when that guy gets injured and he's out for a month, right? We need someone to step up to the plate. And you might not be as good, but something is better than nothing. And guys, this is why you need to start sharing the word with other men. Like, for example, there was this story here. I'm going to share this with you. And I think this, like, I want to take you guys down a rabbit hole. This is some next level shit. All right. So, no, that wasn't the one. Stop that. I'll bring up the right one. Share screen. Where are we here? Here we go. So this is crazy. This particular story that I'm going to share with you. Sydney woman accused of disposing of her partner with an axe as he watched a movie in bed, right? And this is crazy enough. It is a partner of 10 years. So he's been with her for 10 years, and now she's doing this stuff. So you never know what's going to happen in 10 years. The 34-year-old woman presented her to a police. The 35-year-old man had severe head injuries. She attacked him with an axe before catching a taxi away from the scene, dodging accountability, walking away. Like, it's good that she went to the police. I'm glad she did. CCTV vision shows her smoking a cigarette before getting in the car. Within half an hour, she was at the station. Officers were sent to the home. They found his body. The scene was horrific. That's the only way it can be described. It's obviously quite horrendous to walk into. So down the bottom it says, if you or someone you know is impacted by assault, domestic or family violence, call 1-800-RESPECT. So let's have a look at 1-800-RESPECT.org.au, right? So if we do a quick search for 1-800-RESPECT, just jump on this page. This is how the rabbit hole works, gentlemen. 1-800-RESPECT, contact us. It's got a couple of women talking about their story. No guys, I note. DV Connect. Here we go. 1-800-RESPECT. Daisy app. Oh, here we go. And there's a Sunny app for women with disability who have experienced violence and abuse. And the Daisy app. So what the Daisy app is, provides you information about support services. Let's download it for Android devices. Let's just go quickly to here. Click on the picture. Oh, hang on. Let me just, as I've clicked on that, I'm going to bring it back onto this tab. So this is where it took me. It's free and connects women around Australia to support services. Let's go have a look at the pictures. This is the rabbit hole. Many women experience sexual assault, family and domestic violence. It's designed to help you connect with local services. Brought to you by 1-800-RESPECT with input from all the states and territories of Australia under the National Plan to Reduce Violence Against Women and Their Children. Men's referral service as well. That's another thing I'm going to get into. Now, this National Plan to Reduce Violence Against Women and Their Children, you might go, well, what is that? And what that actually is, it's something that has been provided as part of a 12-year multi-billion-dollar plan at the taxpayer's expense. Australian government, Department of Social Services, dss.gov.au. This is a federal government thing. This is like, imagine if Trump were to put this out, or like the federal government of the US. We're in the fourth part now. There's 4 3-year plans, and when you actually go deep into this, and of course it's all about women's safety, right? And I have no issue with women being safe, but you've really got to look at it. Plan for women's safety for more action. So I'll go to that. National Plan to Reduce Violence Against Women and Their Children. 1 in 4 Australian women. And I actually did a podcast on this on Unapologetic Aussie, which is my audio podcast. And I talked about, it was a 9-minute podcast. It was one of my first ones. And it talks about how lies by omission and repetition. So when you repeat something enough, it becomes fact to you, right? and it becomes hard to get rid of out of your consciousness. Now, if I go drop down here, national initiative, we've got 1-800-RESPECT, which is the one I showed you before. And we've got ANROS, Australian National Research Organisation for Women's Safety, DV Alert, Our Watch, and Stop It at the Start. So I'm going to have a quick dig into those things, right? We've got 1-800-RESPECT there. Operational model. Now, when I go to 1-800-RESPECT, which is that website before 1-800-RESPECT.org.au, it was the same one that, here we go, zoom in on the bottom. Funded by the Australian Government Department of Social Services. Copyright Medibank Health Solutions. Now, let's really, oh, hang on. I should really share this window rather than just this tab. This is it here. Go all the way to the bottom. Funded by the Australian Government Department of Social Services. Copyright Medibank Health Solutions. The very same Medibank, the very same, by the way, guys, if you live in Australia and you've got health insurance with Medibank, just cancel it. Just go with someone else. Medibank Private Limited. All right, so this is how deep this rabbit hole goes. And so that's 1-800-RESPECT for you. And then DV Alert. I am going to take you to the DV Alert webpage here so you can see what's going on. I'm going to quickly touch on each of these individual things that are funded under this plan. 1 in 5 women have experienced sexual violence. Doesn't mention the male victimization rate. Australian women experienced an episode of stalking since the age of 15. Nothing about men. Improving perpetrator interventions. Of course, perpetrators are men, right? And all you see is women with kids. Women with kids. Women with kids. Learn the signs. They've got indoctrination programs that they charge you. Now, Lifeline. Oh, let me touch on Lifeline. So that thing down the bottom there where it says Lifeline, Saving Lives, Child and Suicide Prevention. Lifeline is a mental health hotline that is actually run by Julia Gillard, who was the Prime Minister, first female Prime Minister, and the person that put this 12-year national plan into place. Now, this thing here, Ulster University, csu.edu.au. Here we go. Service directory, 1-800-RESPECT. This is all linked together. The Daisy app, an app developed by 1-800-RESPECT. Student support, DV Alert training. CSU has partnered with Lifeline to run a free 2-hour interactive presentation to staff and students. This training is funded by the Department of Social Services. At the end of the awareness session, attendees will be able to identify the different signs and forms of abuse that constitute domestic and family violence, familiarize themselves with the cycle of violence and Duluth wheels, power and control, equality and empowerment. So what is the Duluth model, you might ask? Well, our own government acknowledges that our current domestic violence framework operates under a feminist framework with the Duluth model. And I'll show that to you as well. This stuff, man, you're going to go, can't even believe that this is government policy.
No.
This is the rabbit hole, gentlemen. So this is on the Australian Parliament House website. Parliament Australia up the top left. Domestic violence issues and challenges. The most pervasive form of violence experienced by women in Australia is violence perpetrated by a male intimate partner, most commonly referred to as domestic violence. So let me just break that down. Violence perpetrated by a male intimate partner is domestic violence. Just ask the Australian government, the Australian Parliament. Now, if I was to go Control F and search Duluth, perpetrator programs, psychoeducational programs, the most common approach, and usually employing a feminist perspective of domestic violence that places the responsibility for the violence with the perpetrator and highlights the contribution of patriarchal gender relations in contributing to domestic violence by explicitly and implicitly sanctioning men's use of power and control over women. Right? The Duluth approach typically employs a feminist psychoeducational approach. And I can go and look, and you can see Duluth. Many Australian intervention programs have been heavily influenced by the Duluth model, developed in Duluth, Minnesota, in the US. If we go Duluth, Minnesota in the US, referred to as the Duluth model, Duluth program. They call it Duluth model here. Now, I'm going to flick through to, here we go. See the Duluth model website. Let's click here. This is linked to by our federal government. Hello, rabbit hole. Equalities wheel. Yay. Free sticker will be included in all orders. Let me show you what this equality wheel is in a second, by the way. What is the Duluth model wheels? They've got one thing here. Creating a process of change for men who batter, comprehensive training. And if we go to wheels here, well, first I'll touch on the training quickly, super quickly. Process of change for men who batter. It's just basically talking about addressing fatherhood with men who batter. Basically need to train men how to not beat up women. And most men don't beat up women. So this is just over-representing the problem. The wheels, download the wheels. Power and control wheel, which is the one they were referring to in that university training, download. And that takes us to, yeah. Let's have a look at this. Have a look at that, using male privilege. Making all the big decisions, acting like the master of the castle. Like, guys, how many guys do you know that get control of their own household and what goes on in it if they've got a woman living there?
Unfortunately, a very small amount, man.
And they're usually the masculine men, the leaders, the guys that the women submit to, not willingly, by the way, and not because they're forced to, but because they realize that yin-yang dynamic is what works. Really happy. And I'm not saying that there's not women who can't be. There's women who can be happy in a relationship where they are the dominant one and the man's the submissive one. Maybe that works for some people, but for the majority of people, it doesn't work, right?
Yeah, because you're right. Because frankly, women want to be led, but they only want to be led by real men.
Most women.
Most women. Okay. Yes.
So
most women.
I just wanted to put that out for the YouTube census.
Sure. Most women. You're right. Most women. But in my experience, I feel that men don't know how to be leaders, and I think men are trying to be leaders based on what they're seeing. I think every man has the ability to be a leader in his own right, but you have to first know yourself. And I think that there's a lot of women that don't want to have to do the things that they're forced to do. So women are right now, in addition to feminism, obviously, because of the lack of leadership, the lack of masculinity, women are required to perform both roles. And that's what it is. So because of the lack of masculinity, the fear of all this information that is very factual that we're talking about, but it's really instilling a lot of fear in men because this is real. This is something from the government. So a normal guy will say, how do I compete against the government? Oh, shit, I can't do it. Oh, shit, I can't talk to her. I get that. But I really, truly believe that there is a way. Just because you're masculine doesn't mean that you have to, hit your chest and be King Kong. You can be masculine and reserved, but you have to be able to pick and choose a woman that's going to appreciate that dynamic. You know what I mean? And the majority of women don't necessarily appreciate that anymore because they're incentivized not to. So that's the thing. And
independent, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're not incentivized. They're not incentivized to appreciate a man and his role. So everyone is fighting for the same role, and that's where the confusion lies. But at the end of the day, if we're all encouraging people to have an abundance mindset, even though the majority of women are following this ideology, there are a large percentage of women that don't. You just have to sift through them, bro.
Right.
And find them.
Yeah, screen them for feminist views.
Precisely. That's it.
Well, and that's the hard part. Is just okay. If you're going to choose to be a relationship or marriage, you have to sift through. You have to sift through the Cardi B's. You got to sift through, the Megan Thee Stallions to find a good one that we call a unicorn, right? Because there's so many bad ones. Like, okay, where are you gonna find the one that actually appreciates that dynamic that we're talking about? Now it's gonna bait and switch you at the end and just tell you what you want to hear because they know what type of guy you are. It's almost looking to draw nowadays.
I totally agree, Jason. That's 100%.
And I'd like to add, this is crazy right here, this rabbit hole you take us down here, that an article that talks about a man being abused, but
Yeah.
they're promoting programs that for women.
Right. And now it's like, now we're here, like using emotional abuse, putting her down, making her feel bad about herself. So making her feel bad about herself could be something as small as she says, "Oh, babe, do I look fat in this dress?" And if you were to say, "Oh, look, I think you look slimmer in the other one," if that's what you were asking, that's making her feel bad about herself. And that comes under power and control, which is the prevailing framework for domestic violence in Australia, which means that you are guilty of family violence. And because you're guilty of family violence, you could be led away from your home in handcuffs. I know that's an extreme example, but this is how open it is to us being screwed over. And I say to guys, if you're going to live with a woman, if you're going to choose to, and if you want to do that and you have the tools to be able to do that and have a happy relationship, right? Most guys don't, but there are a lot of guys that also do. And in much respect to those people who have worked it out for themselves. But if you want to live with someone, never ever live with them in a house that you own, and always live. If you're going to rent with them somewhere, which I suggest you do, even if you own your own house, rent with them in a house that's not yours, because if they get you kicked out under these laws, you want to be kicked out of a home that doesn't belong to you. That's all I'm going to say. So, and have an asset list of the things that really are important to you. Keep all of your important documents outside of the home, maybe at your parents' house, or maybe with your brother, or someone that you have such a deep level of trust that even if you were to have a fallout, that they'd at least let you come and get your shit. So, and like, don't keep this sitting in your bedside table when you live with a woman.
Yeah, and it's
sitting in your bedside.
It's crazy that that we have to now have a fallback for even if you that even if you're in a good relationship, there's a chance that she could, and then you gotta forget your bug out bag or whatever and hightail it like this.
Right.
I mean, but relationships aren't what they were, back, in the 80s and 70s when people actually like worked through stuff and they didn't get divorced because somebody put out a song or whatever. Like, we worked through it, and it's not like that now. So now you have to plan for the inevitable.
Speaking of which, by the way, like let's talk about this having assets easily accessible to women, right? I'm talking about joint bank accounts where you've got 200 grand. Let me use an example of someone I know personally that had 140 grand in a joint bank account as the proceeds of the sale of a home that he didn't want to sell, but she wanted to sell. So he did what she wanted, right? To try and make her happy. And she then took that 140,000, bailed out of the country for like a month and a bit, disappeared out of her daughter's life, right? Just poof, disappeared, went overseas, came back with zero in the bank, zero money to speak of that could be traced. And she then picked her daughter up from school, ran off with the daughter, right? Took out a restraining order and domestic violence order against this guy. He had to spend $120,000 in legal fees just to have the right to see his daughter with supervision, for which he paid for the privilege of $600 per visit, by the way. So, yeah, because he has to pay the person to supervise the visit after he's paid the court to give him the permission to be able to see his daughter with supervision. And even now, when he's the one that has the majority custody of the daughter, because she's decided she doesn't want to work, she still gets child support from him while he's got majority custody. And the only reason that she's not in jail is because she withdrew the charges that she put against him to try and get the power and control over him, right? Remember, guys, power and control. And by the way, that's actually one of the components of the power and control wheel, using children, right? Right here. There it is.
They're experts.
So, she's taking power and control over him by using the children against him. And then she's trying to get child support out of him, which is creating a situation in which she is emotionally abusing him and economically abusing him, using coercion and threats,
intimidating him
with solicitors, This whole wheel using isolation, controlling who he sees and talks to. Right? Yeah, she's controlling the fact that he can't see his own daughter. Like that's the most egregious type of control. Limiting involvement, using jealousy to justify actions. Get the fuck out. And male privilege, please, please.
So I see out a casino where the chick takes off with the dollar with what's the name with the shark dude, like takes off with all the money in the chick and tries to hold the dollar for ransom. That's crazy.
Yeah, man, exactly. And this is what's being allowed in Australia, and this is government funded under all these plans. So I want to quickly go to the next one, which is ANROS, the Australian National Research Organisation for Women's Safety, which is on the federal government website again, which I'm just going to quickly share here. Share screen up here. Tab. Here we go. It's a not-for-profit independent research organization funded by the Commonwealth and state governments. Learn more about them and their work on the website. So I'll go there. And here we go. Understanding the role. Wow. Understanding the role of law and culture in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities in responding to and preventing family violence. Interestingly, here we go. National Organization for Women's Safety is an independent, not-for-profit research organization established to produce evidence to support the reduction of violence against women and their children. Now, interestingly, here we go. Perpetrators stop their violence and are held to account. We all know who the perpetrators are, gentlemen. It's you.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Interestingly, the majority of violence going on in Indigenous communities, so per capita, the domestic violence rates in Indigenous communities in Australia is higher than any other demographic. And this is mostly linked to drug and alcohol abuse. And it's mostly as a result of helplessness and intergenerational poverty. And look, guys, I don't want to go in there, but I just want to acknowledge that, because the whole Black Lives Matter thing, like, yeah, Black Lives Matter, and if they matter, if we want to talk about what's disproportionately affected the Black community in the past, which is manifesting itself in the present, in the more impoverished communities, because there's a lot of black people that are extremely successful. I mean, we see this in Hollywood, we see this in government, we see some up and coming leaders in the manosphere even. Chandler Crump, man, the kid is killing it. He's like 15, 16 years old, and he's like out there smacking it on YouTube. Like, this guy was invited to the RNC, you know what I'm saying? Like, and this is like, up and coming leaders. Like, big respect to Chandler Crump. Go and follow him if you haven't already seen his work. But this is the thing. We have to acknowledge the issues that disproportionately impact the Black community, rather than just saying, let's tear down the government, let's tear down capitalism, let's tear down this shit. Look, this whole entire, the violence that's going on that's attached to the Black Lives Matter movement, in my view, they're using Black Lives Matter as a front to do what they want to do, to try and destroy all private enterprise, to try and destroy the government, and tear that whole structure down so that all is left is the government. There's no private enterprise left because it's all been burned to the ground. So what happens now? Daddy government's got to pick up the pieces. Then we've got communism and socialism, which is what they want, because they think, now I get free college. Now I don't have to work hard so that I can pay for my accommodation. It's like, yeah, you don't have to work hard, but that pantry at your house is going to be looking awful empty, because the people at the top are being corrupted by absolute power, which corrupts absolutely.
I agree 1,000%, man. And there's a lot of fronts. Pardon me. There's a lot of fronts happening right now. And we don't need to go there. It's a very touchy subject, but you're absolutely right. You covered it brilliantly, in my opinion. There's a lot of fronts, and just like the discourse that's happening right now in the manosphere about breaking shit down, it's just segregating everything, right? To kind of create a narrative that is beneficial for everyone but us, right? So if we're talking about BLM, we're talking about masculinity, we are destroying ourselves, whether it's the Black community, whether it's the men in the manosphere. We're all destroying ourselves, and whoever's the puppet master, whoever's watching, feminism, the government, whatever is watching, they're laughing at us, right? So they're dividing us. So they're dividing the Black communities. They're dividing the manosphere, and this is going according to their plan. This is what I've been fucking talking about. What I'm talking about is we're fighting the wrong people. And we're also fighting a fight that we are not prepared to fight. We'll talk about BLM, we'll talk about racism. That's just not going anywhere. So that's something that we have to fix, but we're not prepared to fix it. You guys want to talk about feminism? We are not prepared to even go up against feminism. Why? Because there is no unity within the community that's talking about feminism. So how the fuck are you going to fight or fix anything if me and you are fighting because you don't believe the shit that I believe? That's stupid. How the fuck are we going to change BLM or the shit that's happening in our black communities, Jason, in our communities, if we're killing each other? It's the same shit. So the point I'm trying to say is this. I'm not this peaceful Quincy Jones, Martin Luther King dude where let's all hold hands, kumbaya shit. But what I am saying is if I'm going to participate in something, I know why I'm here. I know why I'm here. I'm not here to tell you why you not, you know what I mean? You're not supposed to bang that broad or you're supposed to do this. I'm not participating in that shit because that has nothing to do with me. What it has to do with is that there's a problem. But in order for us to fix a problem, we have to fix one problem at a time. And I know if I'm going to go up against somebody, I'm going to be as prepared as possible so I can make an impact in the fight that I'm trying to fight, period.
Yeah. And, you know, real quick, I would also like, in addition to that, I would also like to add that me personally, I believe that, like you said, the discord in our community, discord and Mansfield, like that, is also turning us into that which we hate. You know what I mean? Like all the violence and everything going on is like they're looking at us like it's opposite day or something. Like the old Spider-Man meme where he's pointing at him and he's pointing at the other Spider-Man. It's like you're turning the same thing in the Mansfield. We're not supposed to be cackling and bickering and having drama like females. Like we're supposed to be coming together, but we have this drama and this split everywhere. You know, well, that's what they do. You know, we're having violence and we're turning another race into the what's that word they use? The victims. Like I thought we're the victims, but you know what? Now you got them. Now you have you have Caucasians out there saying that, you know, I'm being persecuted against now because I'm white. And it's like we're flipping this in a bad way. You know, the manosphere, you know, things going on in society is getting flipped. And we're watching the world burn.
Yeah, and look, you know, there is a definite agenda against the straight white man, but there's also an agenda which ignores the black man as well. There are different agendas in play which disproportionately disadvantage different demographics.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people think when I talk out and I say, look, I'm sick of this white male privilege bullshit because I didn't have nothing handed to me on a silver platter. You know, I had to work for it. Even like, for example, Tiny Temper, he says, have you ever been so hungry it keeps you awake? Man, my hunger would leave you amazed. And this is the story of a man, like a young black man that had nothing, that didn't even have food on his plate, you know, and he worked his way to the top. And who was it said? Chipmunk. If you ever seen that song, Champion by Chipmunk, and Chris Brown says, if they put you on the pedestal, they can take you off. And that is very, very powerful because, you know, you need to be humble and understand where you came from with the people that lifted you up, because you can be taken off that pedestal real quick. And you can build yourself up from nothing to something and then be taken back down to nothing in an instant if you don't play your cards right. And there is a very real government agenda. I mean, we look at this on the screen right now. This is the United Nations Women Instagram account, My Feminist Agenda. And I scroll up a little bit and it's got another thing like, here we go. RIP patriarchy. Like this is a serious agenda, guys. This is the top down. And this is being taken on board by big Western governments as well. And it's not a good thing. But, my goodness, I missed this one. How did I miss this? Let me just share this one with you as well. You know how, guys, you know how we often hear feminists say to us, oh, you're perpetuating toxic masculinity. You need to stop telling man to man up. You know, boys should be allowed to cry. Yeah, well, guess who's telling us to man up? Look at this. Right? Who's telling us to man up? That's what I thought.
Listen, let me say this. Let me chime on this lastly.
Talk to me.
And you segued that perfectly, Sydney. Because it's all relative. The BLM, the masculine, men crying about the state of feminism. Listen, man, and this is my honest opinion as a black man, and I'm gonna say it metaphorically, a black man or a man who feels inferior in regards to feminism, we as men, white, black, it doesn't really matter. We have to stop feeling sorry for ourselves and looking for a hug, okay? Because, again, I said this earlier, racism is here to stay. Yes, you are not handed anything, but realistically, on some forms, there's going to be different advantages for me in certain areas, and there's going to be different advantages for you. Just like with women, this feminism shit is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, especially with the discourse that's happening amongst men. So I say that to say this. If you are a black man concerned about the state of racism that's been here for fucking ever, you have to maneuver accordingly. If you are a man who is interested in a woman that is a feminist, or the majority of women are feminists, you have to handle yourself accordingly. It is what it is. We all have a choice. If a black man knows that he shouldn't be doing this in a neighborhood that he potentially may get stopped, you have to handle yourself fucking accordingly. If you know the majority of women are feminist, you have to vet and handle yourself accordingly. So can I feel sorry for a man that sees the flags, listens to the goddamn content, and still pursues it anyway? I can't feel sorry for you, sir. No sympathy. Can I feel sorry for a black man or a kid that has, that fits the description, pants down, all this dumb shit, and gets profiled? I can't feel sorry for you. It is not a fair world, guys. It's not a fair world. It is what it is. So stop fucking crying about women. Stop crying about inequality, because that's the way the world works. You have to, again, water your own fucking lawn and be the alpha that you want to be in your own household, in your own bubble. And that's the only thing that you can do. And if everybody did that in unison, we would have more headway. We would have more headway in society as a whole, because like you said, Sydney, things are popular and there's power in numbers. And if we continue with this message and we stay steadfast in our message, we will eventually get there. Maybe our kids will feel the hard work and the foundation that we created. But right now, we're nowhere near that. So we need to stop crying about dumb shit that's not going anywhere. That's it.
There was a newspaper, there was actually a mainstream media article put out in Australia, and it was on news.com.au, which is like one of the biggest news websites in Australia. And it was talking about teens going their own way. Like teenage boys are like, man, I saw my dad get fucked over. I saw my uncle get fucked over. I saw my friend get falsely accused of shit he didn't do. And I've even got a friend who's got a teenage son. And this teenage son was telling my friend about a situation in which a guy at school got falsely accused. And he spoke to his son about it. He's like, man, like I'm worried for you. And he goes, no, it's okay, Dad. Like I don't have nothing to worry about it. And his dad's like, what do you mean you got nothing to worry about? He goes, well, as long as you don't say anything to upset the girls, they're not going to do anything to you. And I'm like, wow.
Bro, and that's the thing. As a parent or anybody, I encourage anybody who's a parent or anybody who's a content creator that's changing or influencing young males or young men, it shouldn't be the goal to scare anyone into doing something that should be natural. Like you see a nice looking chick you want to talk to, that's a natural thing. I don't think, especially you in particular, I don't think your goal is not to scare men. Your goal is to make men aware.
Educate, help them understand.
Just like we expose certain truths about women, it is for knowledge is power. So if you have the knowledge, you should be able to maneuver accordingly. The problem is everyone is soaking up the knowledge and not applying what they know. This is why there is a stagnation. This is why people make fun of MGTOW, because they think that you guys have so much knowledge, you guys ain't doing shit. Or this is why they're making fun of incels. This is why they're making fun of all that other shit, because the information is scary, but it's not your job to discourage anyone. It's your job to empower with knowledge, so that way they can maneuver. Because a life behind the computer is not a life. A life behind YouTube is not a life, guys. There's a life out there, but if you know, it's like a video game. If you're playing a video game, you know that this is a hard level. You know you have to equip yourself with weapons and all this type of shit so you can get to the goal. You guys have to have goals in your life so that way you can know how to attain your goal. Don't let these facts scare you. You just have to be more cautious in how you move.
Man, you know what? I think I might even take the audio from this and create a podcast channel, because some of this content is just such gold. And I'm seeing an explosion in podcasts because audio is so much easier to listen to while you're driving, while you're riding, while you're walking, while you're running, while you're doing stuff you should be doing instead of being on YouTube. Back to your point that there's a life off YouTube, and it doesn't mean that you can't consume this content. Like
Right.
you can use a YouTube ripping piece of software or a page to download the videos, convert it to audio, chuck it on your phone, whatever you want. I'm going to start up a Spotify to do this. So
Sure, man. Even at the gym, even if you're at the gym, you know, you could just hear these gems because it's important, man. We all have different perspectives, but I think our mission and mission statements are the same, and that's the beauty of it. You know, Jason, the working man, has a different way to deliver the message. Sydney, you have a way. I have a way, but it's all encompasses in touching on the facts and saying, okay, there is a problem. These are the facts. This is what we know. How do we find a great area so we can have some normalcy in our life? Because I don't want to be scared of women, because I'm not scared of women, but I am concerned about the consequences. But the consequences will affect me more if I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And this is why I encourage men to know what you're doing, listen to content like this, and apply it to the way you best see fit for yourself. That's it.
Yeah.
You've been
By the way,
warned, you know what? Empower yourself with information.
No, you go. Sorry, I interrupted.
I was just gonna say, like Alpha was saying, empower yourself with information, arm yourself with the tools to navigate, should you choose to do A, B, or C. Now you know better.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I'm going to share something here. Remember how I brought up that one government organization, ANROS, Australian National Research Organization for Women's Safety? I'm going to show you a tab here. Now, this is crazy. This stuff is crazy. This article is called How to Stop Men Killing Their Wives and Children. Now, this is written by Jenna Price, who is a senior journalism lecturer at the University of Technology, Sydney. All of this stuff is coming out of universities, guys. Mark my words. This is where all of this rot is coming from. Here we go. Of everyone I've spoken to trying to make some sense of the horror, Heather Nancarrow, the chief executive of the Australian National Research Organisation for Women's Safety, proposed the most radical intervention. We've known each other for a long time, and she's not given to drama. When any man is transitioning out of a relationship, she says, he should be monitored. What she means is that during the period of separation, every man must be put on a program with mental health checks and scrutinized for signs of violence to ensure he is making this transition safely and not a risk to women, children, or themselves. This won't please everyone, she says, but we have tried to put support around women and it's not working. She says, we must target individual men.
Listen, see that, and the only way we can combat that is with this content.
Right.
That is the only way we can combat that, because that article was directed to women. What you guys are doing, the Working Man and Sydney MGTOW, is targeted to men, and there is nothing wrong with that. And that is the only way we can fight fire with fire. They're telling you that if you break up with a guy, he should seek some psychiatric evaluation. That's absurd. That's absurd. Now, if with the content that you guys provide with red flags and things to look out for, that will minimize and make that person more stringent on their choices. But we have to provide. Men deserve information just as much as women do, and we apply it accordingly. So this shit is not gonna stop, bro. And this is why, again, I don't give a shit, frankly. On G shit, I'm gonna get gangster now. I don't really give a fuck about this dumb shit, bro, because I know what I know. I see what I see, and I can't unsee it anymore. There's no turning back for me. And I'm going to do everything I fucking possibly can to contribute and spread this message, because men need it. And you heard it, you hearing it right now. Men need it, and I'm not going to stop, bro, because I haven't been this motivated or excited to participate in this movement for as long as I can remember, bro. And the reason why I'm excited about it, not because I'm socially awkward, not because I can't get a chick, is because there is a message behind it, and men need help. And in whatever capacity that I can do to help them, I'm gonna help them, bro. And that's that. That's it.
Right, exactly. By the way, to everyone listening right now, if you want to ask myself, AV, or Jason a question, drop a super chat with your question. Also, if you drop a PayPal donation during this stream, I have my phone here. I get the notifications. I will be able to see the comment you've left with it. Leave a donation with a comment asking your question, and I will address it on this stream. So you guys can pick our brains. You guys can ask us anything. And this isn't me like begging or shilling for money. It's just like there's obviously a lot of comments. I can't address every single one because otherwise all I'm going to be doing is reading comments the whole stream. And we need to get the good quality content to you guys. So I just wanted to quickly touch on this again. And I know that sort of keep harping back to this, but I really want to share this with you guys.
No, that's fine. Yeah, let's do it.
Check this out. This is Our Watch. This is another one of the organizations. Learn more about the work done by Our Watch. Our Watch is a national leader in the primary prevention of violence against women and their children, promoting gender equality during COVID. No excuse for abuse. And this is all one way, guys, all one way. Change the story. It's our framework for a consistent and integrated approach to preventing violence against women. Now, they've got multiple websites here, and I'm just going to quickly touch on this. Workplace equality and respect. Your workplace can help create an Australia where women are safe, equal, and valued, as if they're not already safe, equal, and valued in the workplace as it is. Find practical tools for the prevention of violence against women that are easy to use. Toolkit for local government, right? Handed to the local government by the federal government, who is run and advised to by feminists. And then we've got Respectful Relationships Program. Your school can promote gender equality and create an Australia free from violence. Yeah, free from violence against women, but not free from violence against men. And I know people are going, oh, but men are stronger. You should stand up for yourself. I was like, yeah, well, we can, but then we get dragged out of our home. Now, media making change. The media can use the media can use its influence to change the culture and attitudes that drive violence. Now, it says here, that's the first thing on their website. This stuff is really concerning. It says survivors in the media, training for journalists, right? So they're training journalists on how to report on violence against women specifically. So they're indoctrinating the media. And there was also something I saw the other day, which was really concerning. Here we go, university curriculum resources. So this is like lesson materials on how to understand violence against women. This is basically absolute indoctrination. This is like deep state shit, I'm telling you. This is media.ourwatch.org.au. And if I go to Our Watch here, and I scroll all the way down the bottom, the sexual assault, domestic and family violence counseling, please call 1-800-RESPECT. Back in the loop you go. Back in the loop you go.
Listen, man. Listen. And this is awesome. This is awesome. Very informative for me. Listen, the social conditioning and everything that was shoved down our throats is coming to light. You know, as men, you know, the builders, the creators of civilization, men are stronger. Their upper bodies are stronger because they are builders. Women are typically stronger, their lower half, because they bear children. Okay, so let's start there. Number one. Number two, it is important for men to educate themselves. If they listen, I'm not condoning or bashing education if you want to go after the degree, but what I am saying is it is important for a man to do his due diligence and to do research. Trust but verify. Yes, women are being instructed, they're being educated that men are the enemy. With that said, this should put a fire on all of our asses as men to come together and to educate the men. Because at the end of the day, we will be the victors. Why is that? Because we are the builders of civilization. We are logical and we are not emotional. We don't get dictated by the moon, the horoscope, or anything. We are the builders. Men have lost their way. We've lost our way for whether we didn't have any male role models, whether we were chasing the pea sleeve, all that shit. We lost our way. So I encourage Sydney to keep doing his thing. The working man, bro, keep doing your thing. All the content creators, keep spreading this message, bro, because men are still not as receptive as we'd like them to be. But I'm hoping with the addition in my mission statement to kind of bring other men who are new to this sphere to give us a little bit more power to get this message out there, because in order for us to at least stand a fighting chance against media, against feminism, against the narrative that's out there, we have to educate ourselves. We have to strengthen our minds and our bodies. And once we do that, I'm prepared to fight. And not in the physical sense, because we're not condoning any physical violence, but I'm prepared to fight against the narrative to make sure that we break this cycle. And the only way we can do that is if we pick up a goddamn book, we listen to this content, and we educate ourselves. And we'll be prepared to do whatever it needs to be done. Because at the end of the day, if there is an intruder in the house and they hear the noise, they're going to ask you to go get them. So at the end of the day, men, educate yourselves, listen to content like this, differentiate and discern what is bullshit and what isn't, and apply what you're hearing from these guys, because it's vital.
Right. And, you know, like I keep thinking about this, and I know I've mentioned Young Men's Daily Red Pill numerous times, but I think he is probably one of them. Him and Chandler Crump, I see as like trailblazers, like really legitimately, because the power of the message that he's giving is relevant to people his age, and the people his age are the people that need this knowledge the most, because people like us, we've been through it, we've learned, right? He's stopping it at the start before it happens to people. And I really, I'm so glad that his channel's up. I'm so glad I'm so glad that he has such presence, and that he is growing, and that he's spreading the message, and he's consistent. He's putting out content. He's letting people know what's going on. He's doing it in a way where, like, I mean, he's still monetized, you know, so he's obviously doing it in a way that's respectful enough so that he's not being censored, which helps him to get recommended, which helps the word spread more. So,
yeah, absolutely. And you know what's crazy? Go ahead, bro. My bad.
No, so no, I listen to him too, you know, and you know, we're older guys, you know, we're trying to reach the young ones too, you know, but he's a fresh voice, he's a young guy, you know, and he's able to reach those, you know, to the young guys, the one of the guys that just get out of high school, the guys just not starting college, the ones that are about to get pushed out. There's this agenda that, you know, they need to go out and marry, they need to go, you know, wife up some thought, you know what I mean? Like, all the virtue and all the other kind of stuff, like, you know, we're trying to do the same thing he's doing, but yeah, he's taking off. You know, I'm trying to reach the young guys to myself. You know, even though we got some older guys here, that's kind of simple. But you know, hey, I'm trying.
You know what's crazy? I discovered Young Men's Daily Red Pill by with Coach Greg Adams, and as soon as I reached out to him, you know, he threw me a bone, man. He said, "Yeah, I'll wear your stuff," and he started wearing my stuff, and I listen to his content all the time. And the reason why, first of all, I appreciate him. So shout out to Young Men's Daily Red Pill. He's a younger dude, and he's very transparent. He talks about his losses. You know, you can see the passion in his eyes. You can see that his delivery comes from a place where he's lost, he's learned, and he's still growing. He's still a young man, but he's ahead of his time. You know what I mean? So I will always support a guy like that, because an older guy, I'm probably 22, 23 years older than him, but I'm still learning from that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I never shit on or look down at younger guys. I have an opinion about people who don't have genuine intent to help people. If you got to make your money, I'm not knocking your hustle, but as content creators with this type of content, bro, we have to be somewhat responsible, because, okay, I'm taking some, you know, I'm saving somebody's life, but it's like you're taking somebody out of a hot frying pan and putting them in something else. You have to make sure that if somebody's going to listen to you and say, thank you for helping me, you have to kind of steer them in the right direction, bro. You can get paid for it, because your time is valuable. We all need to make money. You know what I'm saying? But the message has to be to the point where, listen, I'll say this real quick. There is more money in the disease, not the cure. Okay? So I think there's a lot of predatory content creators that prey on that notion that there's more money in the heartache and just the recycling of shit versus really wanting to help somebody. So I don't blame them for that. I blame the recipient of the message. If you know that this message isn't serving you, or you're still doing the same shit, as a man, you're supposed to determine, hey, this isn't no longer working. Let me try something else, because that's how shit works. And that is proof that you're evolving. If we're talking about the same shit 2 years from now, guys, that tells me two things. We haven't evolved, and we're not making a dent, because nobody's playing their part. So this is one thing, the teacher and the student. So it's like the audience is a student that's getting left back and not advancing in their grade. So if they want content from you guys, they have to play their part and show us, or show you rather, that they're actually learning and applying what they've learned. There's no more there's no better satisfaction than somebody saying, coming to you for help, and you seeing that you're actually helping them.
Yeah, it's like, for example, CGA, he charges, I think it's what, $100 US for a 15-minute coaching session, $200 for half an hour, and $300 for a 1 hour. And there is value in what he's offering, and you will get your value. You will get your money's worth. Like some people go, "Oh my god, $100 for it's like $400 an hour." That guy's a shill. It's like, no, fuck that. Like CGA, man, he's putting out content constantly for free for people all the time. He is got his own fitness business. Like he's constantly on his hustle. Like he doesn't have time to sit around for half an hour talking to someone who wants to play the victim
and for free.
Tribute.
Like, bro, he's a listen, he's a monster, bro. He's a monster. And to remain composed, he's got 3 channels. He's got kids. He's doing his shit. You guys have to, that's the thing. You have to understand what it takes to help people. You know what I mean? And yeah, and the thing is this, I will say this, Sidney. If you think 15 minutes, if $100 is too much for you for 15 minutes, that means that you don't value yourself, or you don't think you need that much help. $100, you can spend that on a date that you're not going to get no ass at the end of the night. But those 15 minutes could change your life, bro.
For real.
But you got to be open to that shit. You can't help people that don't want to be helped. So I think the thing is, people don't want to be helped. They just want to be heard. You know what I mean? They want to feel like they're a part of something, but they don't want to apply what they're learning.
Yeah, exactly. Just wanted to share this as well. This is another one of those departments that I was sharing before. It's called Stop It at the Start. Aims to break the cycle of violence. So I want to learn more about this. When we excuse disrespect, it can grow into violence. It's important we understand the cycle. Not all disrespect towards women results in violence, but all violence against women starts with disrespectful behavior, which is not factually correct, but whatever. You know, even though this is an Australian government initiative with joint Australian, state, and territory, so like all the way from the top level out down to a tiny level. If we go to the campaign and we go to campaign materials, get a load of this. So this is the first video I'm going to play.
Come on, then.
By the way, can you hear that or no?
Yeah, I can.
What happened?
Got detention just for flicking up a girl's skirt.
What?
That's it.
Doesn't she know that's just boys being boys?
Yeah, I mean, I've already accepted that as I grow up, I'll probably be harassed and even abused.
Sorry. That's not what I meant.
Now, I'll just play this other one off the back of that just so we can see. This is what government's. Hang on. Let me open this in another tab. Hopefully it's much better. This is the kind of stuff, like you look at the Department of Social Services, Australian government, that's who it's been posted by. Oh my God, this is not looking so well.
Hourglass of death.
But like, I don't know if you can see this tab along the bottom. It shows the girl getting knocked over. And then the woman comes to talk to him and she goes, "It's okay, he's just a boy." She goes, "It's okay, mum. I know it's okay for boys to push women." And then he gets to him and he goes, "Yeah, and I guess when I become older, it'll be okay for me to be violent towards women." So go to respect.org, sorry, to respect.gov.au if you want to get to that content to see what's going on. And so there's that, right? And then I went, well, hang on, that's kind of BS. So I did a quick search on YouTube for Stop It at the Start just to see what came up. And it was very interesting what I found, because there's a few different ones here, including those 2 commercials. But there was also this. Now, this is the indoctrination of school kids. Stop It at the Start, Bankstown West. And you'll notice that this is an all-boys classroom, and in the background, you got female teachers. Just drop the quality of this a little bit so I can. Okay. Oh man, it was just about to get to the
the good stuff, the good part.
Yeah, exactly.
This part, okay, gotcha.
Weird. I can see it. I can see it actually buffering ahead there. Okay, again. I'll just try to see if I can do this again. If not, I'll. And here we go. It's got all of us men in the bottom right-hand corner. Uguna Public School. So this is the kind of. There we go. Donovan Sharp recommended for you why most black men don't succeed. You can tell who I follow.
That's a good one. That was a good one. I saw that one yesterday. Good one.
It's killing me. But guys, check out Stop It at the Start, Banktown. Like, just literally type in Stop It at the Start and go and have a look at some of these videos that are put forward by the Department of Social Services and, you know, with these kids singing at school. And it's absolutely crazy. Like, you'll be seeing red by the end of it. So yeah, and these are all federally funded government programs that are giving billions of dollars every quarter. Billions. Like, I'm not even exaggerating here. And you know what I was saying before about how you should never let a woman live in a house that you own? It's not because you want to be a dick and not because you want to deny them, like, you know, looking after them, but it's because of this sort of stuff. Like, this is Women's Aid Scotland.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing, Sydney. What is wrong with protecting what is yours? You came in with something. What's wrong with that? Like, even how you tried to justify it, right? We're programmed because we have to kind of say, oh, not because we're being a dick. Yo, because you protecting your stuff, you're a dick. But if a woman did it, she'd be well within her right. So that's my point. The point is this. I think every man, every woman for themselves. Okay? I think we all have an understanding. It's kind of like, I prefer to deal with somebody who I know doesn't like me than to deal with somebody who I think likes me but really doesn't. It's kind of like, if you play with a snake, you're going to get bit. I can work with that. Okay? So now, a lot of women don't like the fact that we know how the majority of them are, allegedly, right? So, but they want to be open and say how they presume we are with no repercussion.
Right.
So clearly there's a disparity there, but there's nothing wrong with protecting your assets because they're your assets. You worked hard for them. You are not entitled to it unless I say so. There's nothing wrong with that. Just like on the flip side of that coin, a man is not entitled to a woman's assets unless she says so. That is fair, right?
That's equality.
It's not how. Get a load of this. This is Women's Aid Rights. If you click on there, you can go to Domestic Abuse and My Rights. Now this is how institutionalized control of men is. Having an abusive partner removed. You can use the law to have an abusive partner removed from the house, and stay away from you. If you have occupancy rights, you can apply to the court for an exclusion order and interdict to remove his or her right to stay in the house and make him stay away. Now, here's where it gets crazy. Right? Here's where it gets crazy. Where are we here? There we go. Staying in your home. So a home doesn't have to be the house that you own. It says here, you have rights to stay in your home and have an abusive partner removed. Your rights to do so will depend on whether you or your partner have occupancy rights. If you're married or in a civil partnership, that means you live with your partner. You have an automatic right to stay in your home, which is occupancy rights, whether the house is in your name, your partner's name, or joint names. This means your partner does not have the right to put you out or refuse you entry. But it just said before that you've got the right to remove your partner, but they don't have the right to remove you. Doesn't have the right to refuse you entry to your home. That is the roof over your head, even if that roof does not belong to you. it also means that he can't sell or give up or transfer the tenancy to somebody else unless you agree in writing. If that is not giving the state institutional power to give a woman control over a man, I don't know what is. So that's some real shit, man. That's Women's Aid Scotland, and it's a federal, by my understanding, federally funded body which helps women to get free legal support. And here we go. If you have to leave your home, you've got a right to temporary accommodation. You don't have to be roofless to be treated as homeless. You can be moved in with family or friends. Temporary accommodation, so the council has a duty to provide you with temporary housing while they assess your homeless application. Accommodations provided in furnished flats, hostels, and for short periods of time can be provided in bed and breakfast accommodation. So you won't even have to pay for food. They'll just give you your food as well. That's free. Once your application's been accepted, the council have a duty, a legal duty, to provide you with temporary housing until they can offer you a suitable permanent home. And you get help with paying rent as well. So there's that.
And that's the thing. Again, that's the thing, brothers. They have a lot of assistance, man. Whether it's the government, whether it's family, it doesn't really matter. That's where we have to come together and help each other. And by helping each other, I mean educating each other. Okay. The education system is not necessarily geared for us. So we have to educate each other. And all this information that you're providing, Sydney, men have to take it upon themselves to do their own due diligence as well, because it is in your best interest. Because again, this content is not geared to scare anyone. In my view, it is geared to inform and equip men
and prepare
to be able to live a life that they want to lead. The facts are there. Racism's there. Inequality's there. Feminism is there. Is that going to stop me, bro? Is that going to stop me from trying to go after that job I want? Is that going to stop me from trying to go after that chick that I want? No, it's not. It's just going to change my strategy. You know what I mean? But if I want to go for a corporate job, I can't have this. You know, I got to like clean up, throw on a tie. If I want to go after this chick, I'm going to have to maneuver a certain way. That's part of being a man, using ingenuity, information that you have, adapting, and conquering your goal, in my view.
Right. And also it's really interesting that you were saying all that, because this is just part of being a leader. It's just
facts.
And also something just hit my mind. I've thought about it before, but it keeps sort of dropping out. But while it's on the tip of my tongue, you know, I wanted to say, whenever you I've seen a bunch of regular colored pigeons attacking, like a massive big group of them attacking another pigeon that was like still like really sickly looking and was slightly different colored. So, I mean, is that racism? It's like, no, this is actually, racism is a manifestation of own group preference against a minority by the majority. It's like we look in South Africa, for example, white people are the minority there, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But we're seeing the government is actually people actually going in and killing white people and taking over their land. The government is
farms. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then in places like Zimbabwe, right? I think it was that happened. And then they took the farms from all of the South African Jewish farmers, like all the white guys, and now the farms aren't producing food because it's like, okay, well, we took the farm. What next? Oh shit, we don't have any leadership. We don't have anyone who knows how to operate the farm, except for the people who were working on the white man's farm who are no longer working for him because, you know, we took it off all of the people. So now you got a situation where you've got racism against white people, and I think, like I said, you know, women have got their own group preference, right? And the manifestation of that is sexism.
Right.
Men have their own in-group preference, and the manifestation of that in some instances could also be sexism. And we, like, how many times have you seen someone who's like disabled, who's like walking, like hobbling down the street like this, and everyone looks? It's because like they are different from the majority of people. So we look and we stare, and we sort of go like, oh man, that's kind of different. That's weird. Like we see kids ask their parents, why is that person different? It's like, I think if we can just say to people, hey, listen, man, this dude's got more melanin than you. That's it. Period.
Yeah, that's easier said than done. But I will say this to combat that, right?
Mhm.
Go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. Number one. Number two, you may not have physical attributes. You may not look like the Chad. You may not have all these things, but go where you're celebrated. Number one. Number two, I think it's a form of being a masochist, bro. Like you keep talking, not you, but people keep talking about chicks, that they're this, that they're that. Why are you still dealing with them, right? Now, this is where they say the POA say, okay, MGTOWs are losers. They suck. You guys are like, you can't get chicks. Everybody can get a partner, bro. It's not. So I say that to say this. You have to go where you're celebrated, not tolerated, number one. And number two, you have to determine the life that you want to lead. And know that just because that you're different doesn't mean, it shouldn't deter you from trying to do what you want to do. And unfortunately, the majority of people are weak. So they rather just wallop and let their weakness fester as opposed to doing the work to improve themselves, whether it's physically, whether it's their geographic location, etc. And frankly, men are the minority now. Right now, men versus women is like racism because men are the minority. We are perceived as the inferior to feminism, right? The movement. With that said, so we talk about BLM, we talk about all this shit, melanin, all this shit. If we could apply those same ideologies within our masculine, within men, we would stand a better chance in creating some order in society. So again, like you said, why can't people just look past color? Because they can't, or they don't want to. Why can't men just say, let's stick together? You want to fuck a doll? I don't. Why can't? Because they don't want to. So we can't necessarily feel sorry for them, guys. We have to just kind of worry about who's listening and resonating with your messages and work on those people. And hopefully we can lead by example. And those guys eventually will say, hey, what are these guys doing? Let's see if we can get with their crew and take it from there.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah,
We're going to here, actually.
We can't worry about nobody else.
Yeah, you can't be. You can't help people who don't want to be helped. And I know it's hard. We take it personal, especially since you guys put so much heart and soul in your messages. And it's frustrating. I can imagine that you say, damn, this shit keeps going on. But at the end of the day, man, guys, I applaud you all for doing what you're doing. And I support you guys 100%, whether you're MGTOW, whether you're incel, whether you're black pill. I support every man that wants to become better. I just want more men to be more open-minded and really keep their eye on the prize and figure out what their mission is. Is your mission just to inform people and scare people, or is your mission really about helping men become better so they can make better decisions? That's the fucking problem. That's the problem. A lot of guys, listen, nobody's mad at you for making money, doing what you're doing. You want to do a dating thing, go ahead. But is that dating course helping men? If it is, great. If the MGTOW ideology is helping men, fantastic. That's the problem. Why do you care what he's doing? Why do you care what he's doing? As long as it's helping men. So this is why the beef, because nobody knows what their real purpose and mission is.
Until they know. They don't know what it is until they know.
Right.
Know.
That's what I'm saying.
And I hope, a lot of people could take some wisdom from, and I hope, by the way, I hope this guy took his own advice. Will Smith, if any of you remember that song, The Two of Us, just the two of us.
Yeah.
Throughout life, people will make you mad, treat you bad. Let God deal with the things they do, because hate in your heart will consume you too. Straight facts from Will Smith. And I hope he remembers those words when he's going through what he's going through right now.
I'm sure he is, man. But, like I said, man, I don't see a way out yet. I don't see a solution yet. I think that we all need to collectively put our minds together to figure out one. Everyone has their own message they want to say with no real solution behind it on a large scale. This is why leadership is important. And it's kind of like an election/selection process. Whatever the sphere is, we need to start appointing leaders to kind of help guide us. You know what I'm saying? And take it from there.
I respectfully disagree with you on that point. We don't need to appoint leaders. Men need to take positions of leadership and lead.
Well said. Okay.
Like I believe that's a
people don't take the lead, which if they'd taken the lead to begin with would have already happened. If those people that we appoint don't take the lead, then we're being led by sheep.
And that's what's happening right now. Okay, well said. I stand corrected. You're absolutely right.
I'd agree. You know, that's the reason why we know we are where we are now, because men haven't taken the lead. You know, we had to take a rightful place in the front of the line. You know, like women are leading themselves now. They're taking the feminism thing, they're taking this independent thing to run with it, because man, like, okay, well, you know, just be independent. Yeah, sure. We'll be here, you know, when you're done. It just shouldn't be like that.
Right.
Straight out, man. Straight out. Guys, look, we've been going for about 2.5 hours now, and Jason, you got to get to bed, bro. It's like what, 3:30 in the morning there. You're over in Mannheim, Germany, man. Like seriously, so much respect for you getting up so early or staying up so late and sitting here for 2.5 hours being part of this. You know, I really appreciate you coming on, brother. I'm going to put all the links to your Instagram and all of your different accounts in the description below so people can check out the working man. Go over, subscribe to him. Make sure you hit the bell to subscribe, as well as select all so you get all notifications, not just the one YouTube wants you to see. And yeah, check out Jason's content because it's really good stuff. He does like little bite-sized YouTube clips. It's very consumable. I'm a subscriber myself. He's got less than 100. Let's get it to 1,000, and let's help the algorithm put some wind in his sails.
Facts, bro. Keep up the good work, bro. And you already know, working man, whatever you need from me, Sydney, you already know. And I'm saying this publicly, whatever you guys need from me, you got it. Just holler at me, man. And again, Sydney, man, we appreciate you, man. We really do. You know, everything that I've said, I mean it from the heart. You guys are doing your thing, man. And, you know, I continue to learn and be inspired by you guys. You guys make me step my game up and just get more creative on how I can participate even more. So, you know, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Put a link. Oh, thanks, Jason, man. I appreciate that. I put a link to both Alpha Villains, Boy AV, and Jason, the working man, in the link below. Check out both their Instagrams. On Alpha Villains, you've got the link to Teespring, to the store. By the way, if you want to get 20% off, I've also put my discount code below, SYDMGTOW. Thank you very much, AV, for setting that up. I appreciate you, man, supporting each other. And if you want to find Jason, the working man 20, right here, and you'll see he's also got a link to YouTube, which I've also dropped in the description below. So yeah, follow those guys on Instagram, follow them on YouTube. AV, if you want to swing me your YouTube link, I'd love to see some of those excerpts. I think it's probably a good way for you to build an audience, so that way when you do have a particular direction you want to take, you can leverage that to put the word out that, hey, this is what I'm doing. Come follow me, subscribe, whatever.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, cool, guys. Well, look, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Let us continue to educate, entertain, and unite the brotherhood. Big love to you all, and I will catch you all later. Peace, gentlemen.
All right. Keep moving.